Chapter 1254. The strong aura made Xiao Qun, who was driving the war chariot, look as dignified as a celestial deity. Even the leader, the half-step Emperor Wu, felt somewhat stunned under this aura. Horror appeared in his heart. A flood dragon war chariot? He is the blue dragon king Xiao Qun. He snatched this war chariot from the Eastern Sea Divine Dragon Palace's young palace master. When everyone saw the flood dragon war chariot, they immediately guessed Xiao Qun's identity. This was originally the symbol of the Eastern Sea Divine Dragon Palace's young palace master, Lung Xiaofan. Now it became Xiao Qun's personal symbol. This was a great mockery of Lung Xiaofan. The Western Sea Divine Dragon Palace's 5 people had not expected Xiao Qun's sudden appearance. They were somewhat stunned. Blue Dragon King. Blue Dragon King Xiao Qun is back. However, the many guards on the city walls erupted in thunderous cheers. Back when the old city was destroyed, the scene of Xiao Qun charging out at the most dangerous moment and chopping the Buddha palm with his saber was still fresh in the minds of these guards. When that saber chopped the Buddha palm in half, boundless sunlight poured down and shone on that white figure. That scene was imprinted in the minds of the millions of people in the city. They would never forget it for the rest of their lives. Xiao Qun felt somewhat angry in his heart. He could roughly guess why this group of people was so fearless. Naturally, the peak of Heavenly Star Island's combat prowess was Lan Xiaobai and Lan Tianji's master, the Life Reaper Azura Lan Qiaofeng, a peak greater Heavenly Emperor Wu. However, Lan Qiaofeng could only rely on Lan Xiaobai, Elder Qin, Mo Chun, and the other blue-robed emperors. These people were not a match for the half-step Emperor Wu. However, if Lan Qiaofeng made a move to deal with this half-step Emperor Wu, he would definitely give the Western Sea Divine Dragon King a chance to make a move. At that time, when Heavenly Star Island came over to denounce Lan Qiaofeng for not knowing the rules and making a move on a junior, it would become Heavenly Star Island being unreasonable. The Great Emperor also had his own rules. If he made a move against someone below Emperor Wu, he would indeed be a laughingstock in the circle. However, if Lan Qiaofeng did not make a move, no one would be able to restrain this group of people. Hence, the other party repeatedly came to cause trouble, continuously suppressing the newly built Heaven Dragon City. Mo Chun and the others could only endure. If the matter blew up, Heavenly Star Island would be the one to suffer. Not to mention the Western Sea Dragon King's strength as a sovereign martial emperor, there was also the 7 heroes of the dragon. Right now, Heavenly Star Island was no match for this faction that had existed for more than 10,000 years. In the end, he was still lacking some foundation, and he couldn't accomplish it in one go. However, no matter what a dignified half-step Emperor Wu had attacked a martial emperor, Xiao Qun couldn't bear it. The Western Sea Divine Dragon Palace truly lives up to being an old subordinate of Neptune. Tell me your name. As Xiao Qun stood on the dragon chariot, he held the reins with one hand and placed the other behind his back. He looked coldly at the black-clad old man who made a move. The black-clad old man felt an inexplicable horror in his heart. Before Xiao Qun's aura, he actually felt timid. What's going on? Although my improvement in the past year is horrifying, reaching consummation blue-robed emperor, I am a half-step Emperor Wu. However, I am a half-step martial emperor. How can I cower before him, not even daring to look him in the eye? Sweat appeared on the black-clad old man's forehead. Why did such a situation happen? He could not figure it out no matter how hard he thought about it. Under the pressure of Xiao Qun's strong aura, the black-clad old man could not help saying his name. This old man's family name is Lu Yuanhe. I am an inner court elder of the Western Sea Divine Dragon Palace. The moment the black-clad old man said this, he regretted it. I am a half-step Emperor Wu. Why do I have to listen to a consummation blue-robed emperor? However, just as the black-clad old man wanted to say something, Xiao Qun's words stopped him. If you apologize now, I will give the Western Sea Dragon King some face and pretend that nothing happened. When Lu Yuanhe heard this, he became enraged. What a joke! You want me, a half-step Emperor Wu, to apologize to a martial monarch? Did a donkey kick you in the head, Blue Dragon King? After snatching the Eastern Sea Divine Dragon Palace's Flood Dragon War Chariot, you still dare to use it so openly. You are the only one in the younger generation who can be so arrogant. Earlier, Xiao Qun's aura was too strong. Lu Yuanhe was stunned for a moment. Now he used the anger in his heart to pull back his aura and rebuked Xiaochen. The one who should apologize is you, you inexperienced brat. If you beg me now, I can put in a good word for you in front of the Eastern Sea Dragon King. That way you will not die too badly. Xiaochen could not be bothered with Lu Yuanhe's nonsense. He said indifferently, I'll say it one last time. Are you going to apologize or not? The many cultivators at the city gates could not understand. Xiaochen was a consummation blue-robed emperor. Why was he so domineering when facing the half-step Emperor Wu? Why did he keep demanding an apology? Where did he get the courage to do so? Not going to say anything? In that case, I'll take it that you have given up. Don't blame me for not giving you a chance and attacking too ruthlessly. After saying this casually, Xiaochen's figure flashed. He executed Thunder Dragon steps and soared into the air. How arrogant! I did not attack you, but you actually dared to attack me first. Lu Yuanhe's lips curled up in a cold smile. Xiaochen came at the right time. He absolutely could not miss out on this opportunity that delivered itself to his doorstep. Defeating Xiaochen was better than causing a ruckus in Heaven Dragon City 100 times. It would be sufficient to plunge Heaven Dragon City's reputation to rock bottom. However, right after Lu Yuanhe spoke, he could not bring himself to laugh. This was because Xiaochen, who had been in his vision a moment ago, suddenly vanished. What's going on? Elder Lu behind. He is behind you. Lu Yuanhe's companions warned him anxiously. No one expected Xiaochen to be so fast. Trying to sneak attack me? You are seeking death. A horrifying aura surged out of Lu Yuanhe's body as he shouted. Then he turned around and punched. The force of this punch was so great that space buzzed. The ground at the city gates trembled slightly. However, Lu Yuanhe's punch hit nothing but air. Before Lu Yuanhe could even see Xiaochen's figure, Lu Yuanhe received a slap to the face, knocking him into the air. When Lu Yuanhe stabilized himself, he rubbed his face and looked forward. However, he still did not see Xiaochen's figure. Lu Yuanhe's expression changed wildly. With a speed like a peal of thunder, he turned around and spoke. Pa! An even more resounding slap landed on Lu Yuanhe's face. His body flew back at an even faster speed, but he still did not see Xiaochen's figure. Lu Yuanhe's heart was filled with horror. He pushed off the air with the tip of his foot and quickly spun forward. In that instant, a strong wind blew. With every spin, Lu Yuanhe brought with him a vast amount of the power of the world. The two slaps made Lu Yuanhe somewhat dizzy. Right now, he could not think of anything other than catching sight of Xiaochen's figure. Pa! However, as Lu Yuanhe spun around at high speed, a finger mark appeared on his face in the 1,000th of a second, and he spun around. When Lu Yuanhe stopped, he still did not see Xiaochen's figure, not even a shadow. Elder Lu behind. Behind? Is he behind me? I don't believe that I can't even see your figure. Lu Yuanhe felt very sullen in his heart. However, he did not dare to turn around and attack. Instead, he turned into a flash of light, flying forward at lightning speed before turning around again. Pa! 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 The sound of slaps filled the air. As long as Lu Yuanhe turned around, he would receive a resounding slap. No matter what he did, no matter how fast he sped up, as long as he turned around, he would receive a slap. Unfortunately, Xiaochen was right behind him. Everyone could see him except for Lu Yuanhe. As long as he turned around, he would receive a slap. This comical scene caused all the guards at the city gates and the other cultivators to roar with laughter. Their laughter was incredibly piercing. Even the four people who came with Lu Yuanhe felt their faces burning. This time, they had truly lost a lot of face. After getting slapped, Lu Yuanhe still looked like a fool, searching for the person who slapped him. To think that this fellow would have such a day. The Blue Dragon King truly lives up to his reputation as the Blue Dragon King. Every time that old fellow comes, he flaunts his might. However, no one can do anything to him. I've been suppressing this frustration for a long time. If Miss Emo-chan says that she does not intend to use the protective formation, does he really think that he can stir up any waves in Heaven Dragon City? When the guards in the city saw this scene, they all felt their frustrations vented. When Emo-chan and the others received the news, they rushed over. Originally, They were worried about Xiaochen. However, when they saw this scene, their lips curled up involuntarily in smiles. Ha ha ha. Blue Dragon King, I see you. I see you. Lu Yuanhe, who had been slapped several thousand times in the air, finally saw Xiaochen's figure the moment he turned around again. Xiaochen laughed maniacally. His tone actually contained some joy. He was like a child anxiously searching for something. After finding it, he felt a sincere satisfaction. However, the spectators who saw this clearly knew that Xiaochen had not moved at all this time, purposely letting Lu Yuanhe see him. They all felt a trace of sorrow in their hearts. It's over. Lu Yuanhe really got slapped silly. His face is already swollen like a pig's head. Yet he can still laugh so happily. Why are you so happy? I just got tired of slapping you with my back to you. Xiaochen narrowed his eyes. His delicate and handsome face looked very nice when he smiled. However, to others this smile was scarily cold, like that of a demon. The resounding slap rang out again. This slap sent Lu Yuanhe flying to the ground. The other party simply could not see the speed of Xiaochen's attack at all. Before Xiaochen, this Lu Yuanhe was like a clown, only able to be toyed with. After Lu Yuanhe landed on the ground, his mind was still somewhat muddled. He kept saying, I see you. I see you. The other 4 blue-robed emperors of the Western Sea Divine Dragon Palace felt their faces burning. Their half-step Emperor Wu got slapped silly. In the entire history of the Heavenly Starry Ocean, Lu Yuanhe was probably the first person to get slapped silly. Unfortunately, this first was not a glorious first. Quickly, carry Elder Lu away. This time we embarrassed ourselves greatly. I wonder how the Vice Palace Masters will deal with us. The 4 blue-robed emperors wished that they could find a hole to hide in. How could they dare to linger? They quickly carried Lu Yuanhe far away like the wind. In the air, Xiaochen stood upright with his hands behind his back. As he watched this group of people leave, he did not stop them. Although Xiaochen was proud and hated evil, he was not a fool. Right now, Heavenly Star Island was not a match for the Western Sea Divine Dragon Palace. There was no need to be too ruthless. By toying with this Lu Yuanhe today, Xiaochen had already regained Heavenly Star Island's lost reputation. He had also helped the guards that Lu Yuanhe hurt vent their anger. That was enough. Chapter 1255. Blue Dragon King. Seeing the Western Sea Divine Dragon Palace's people flee, all the guards on the city walls cheered. The tyrannical air of kingship that Xiaochen exuded slowly settled. When Xiaochen looked back, he saw Emochun and Lan Xiaobai. They exchanged looks and smiled, understanding each other without saying anything. The Flood Dragon War Chariot carried Xiaochen away. Emochun and Lan Xiaobai waved their hands to get the others to move back. Then, they leaped onto the war chariot. Big brother Xiaochen, did you succeed? Emochun asked anxiously. Lan Xiaobai also had a look of anticipation in his eyes. Both of them knew that Xiaochen had left Heavenly Star Island in search of a way to quickly advance to consummation Blue-Robed Emperor. Given that Xiaochen could even toy with the half-step Emperor Wu, he must have found a way. Xiaochen nodded and gave a simple explanation of his experiences. Then he said, this time not only did I advance to consummation Blue-Robed Emperor, but I also condensed a heart of an emperor and can cultivate primordial energy. After the two of them received a definite answer, a sincere smile appeared on their faces, brimming with a strong sense of joy. Lan Xiaobai guffawed and said, it looks like the city lord's residence will be holding a grand banquet tonight. We will not return until we are drunk. Xiaochen replied. Then he asked about the ins and outs of the matter at the city gates. What exactly was going on? Lan Xiaobai hesitated for a while before saying, Emochun, you tell him. This is your decision as well. Xiaochen looked over doubtfully. Could there be more to this? Mochen nodded and said, I used the manpower of the entire Heavenly Star Island, and some of the secret techniques in the Book of Heavenly Works to complete the general outline of Heaven Dragon City half a year ago. At the same time, the winery on the island and the refining mountain manor on Black Flame Island started operating as well. As you know, we have the Dragon's Gate treasure trove and the Green Dragon Chamber of Commerce. We have all sorts of peak ores and rare materials. As soon as the city was built, it quickly became operational. In less than a month, It became the commercial center of the Western Sea. Debeo and I worked together to take out a few treasures from the Dragon's Gate's treasure trove and hold an auction at regular intervals. The flow of people in Heaven Dragon City immediately increased, completely surpassing that of the Western Sea Divine Dragon Palace's Sea Dragon City. The various merchant associations of the Heavenly Starry Ocean are also fighting to establish themselves in Heaven Dragon City, bringing in a lot of tax revenue. Xiaochen was slightly speechless. The Heaven Dragon City was like a behemoth. Once it was in operation, the speed at which it rose was unbelievable. Emochen continued. The Western Sea Divine Dragon Palace became envious of the huge benefits. 3 months ago, their young master brought people over, wanting to work with us. Xiaochen raised his eyebrows and asked, "Work together? What kind of cooperation?" Emochen shook her head and said, "Although they said it was a cooperation, it was essentially banditry. They said that the Western Sea Divine Dragon Palace would provide security for Heaven Dragon City, and then take 50% of our profits every year." Xiaochen smiled and said, "This plan is really good. Since when did we need their protection?" Naturally, there was no need to elaborate on what happened after that. It was easy to guess. Naturally, Emochen could not agree to such a cooperation. Hence, the other party kept sending people to cause trouble. Emochen sized up the situation. Before Xiaochen returned, she chose to endure and not do anything. Hence, the scene that Xiaochen saw at the city gates happened. Lan Xiaobai added, "The more despicable thing is that the Western Sea Divine Dragon Palace's young master spoke arrogantly. Back then, he even wanted to remove Emochen's veil. If not for Master appearing and scaring him away, the consequences would have been hard to imagine." There was such a thing? Xiaochen felt some rage in his heart as he looked at Emochen. Emochen smiled calmly and said, "It's fine. He can't get close to me. My cultivation has not fallen behind in the past year." Xiaochen looked carefully and discovered that it was not just Emochen. Even Lan Xiaobai's cultivation had improved significantly in the past year, both advancing to great perfection. Blue-robed Emperor Mo Chun had the Book of Heavenly Works, the cornerstone treasure of an ancient sect. It was perfectly compatible with her, so it was not strange for her to have such improvements. The strange thing was Lan Xiaobai. Although Lan Xiaobai had excellent talent and had the support of the Dragon's Gate treasure, Heavenly Star Island was not an excellent experiential training ground like the astral battlefield. After all, how could he have made such improvements? Emochen noticed Xiaochen's doubts. She said, "I know what you are wondering. The answer lies in the Dragon's Gate's mountain rock that you brought from Bright Moon City." Lan Xiaobai said, "Only now do I know that the Dragon's Gate's mountain rock made from heaven-subduing rock not only has the effect of gathering luck for the sect, but is also an excellent experiential training ground. There are many Dragon's Gate's heroic spirits there. Yu Chenxi and the others are all cultivating there." Xiaochen's heart skipped a beat. Back then, when he first saw the Dragon's Gate's mountain tablet, he had indeed seen an illusion. However, he did not expect that the illusion had other mysteries and could be used for cultivation. In the 1 year that Xiaochen was gone, the changes that happened to Heavenly Star Island caught him off guard. A pleasant surprise that was too unexpected. However, Xiaochen could not let his joy go blind. He had to think of a way to deal with the Western Sea Divine Dragon Palace. "What do the two of you think about the Western Sea Divine Dragon Palace?" Xiaochen asked. At the mention of the Western Sea Divine Dragon Palace, the smiles on Emochen's and Lan Xiaobai's faces slowly vanished. Worry flashed on their faces. The Western Sea Divine Dragon Palace had deep accumulations. The Western Sea Dragon King was a sovereign martial emperor, and the 2 vice palace masters were as strong as Emperor Wu. Furthermore, the Western Sea Divine Dragon Palace could summon the various marquises at any time. Simply put, this was a huge faction. The Western Sea Divine Dragon Palace had dominated the Western Sea for more than 10,000 years. If they were not angry, they could flatten Heavenly Star Island. Emochen said, "Heavenly Star Island still has the Bushin Palace behind it. The Western Sea Dragon King does not dare to make a move. I'm just afraid that he will play some tricks, sending people to harass us. After all, Senior Lan cannot make a move casually." Lan Xiaobai said, We do not have to worry about this right now. With Xiaochen around, if they dare to send people to harass us, they will just be seeking their own humiliation. As Xiaochen listened to the two, he realized that they were both very smart people. However, they could not think of any good ideas at this moment. The reason was none other than accumulations. Heavenly Star Island's accumulations were far inferior to that of a veteran overlord like the Western Sea Divine Dragon Palace. Big Brother Xiao, you already have a countermeasure in mind? Emo-chen was very intelligent. When she saw Xiaochen's expression, she could tell that something was amiss. Lan Xiaobai looked over curiously. Xiaochen just returned, and he already had a countermeasure. This was too inconceivable. Xiaochen nodded and said, I do indeed have a countermeasure. Actually, when I returned, I already thought about it. I can deal with the tough bone that is the Western Sea Divine Dragon Palace, and let the Western Sea Dragon King know that Heavenly Star Island is not as simple as it looks on the surface. What countermeasure? Xiaochen's tone was calm as he slowly said, announce to the world that the Dragon's Gate will be re-established. When Emo-chun and Lan Xiaobai heard this, they sucked in a breath of cold air. They had not expected Xiaochen's countermeasure to be so shocking. Although they knew that Xiaochen's future goal was to use Heavenly Star Island as the foundation to rebuild the Dragon's Gate, they did not dare to do so. However, Emo-chun and Lan Xiaobai had not expected it to happen so early. This was truly unexpected. Isn't it a bit too early? Lan Xiaobai asked. Emo-chun did not say anything, but she clearly had the same question. Right now, Heavenly Star Island's accumulations were far from sufficient. During the time that Xiaochen was away, Lan Xiaobai and Emo-chen could be considered the true decision-makers of Heavenly Star Island. There was no need for Xiaochen to hide his thoughts from them. After organizing his thoughts, Xiaochen said, actually, compared to those holy lands, no matter how much Heavenly Star Island develops, we will not be able to reach their accumulations within 100 years. It doesn't matter if we announce it earlier or later. It doesn't matter. Since that is the case, why not announce it earlier? Erecting the Dragon's Gate signboard would definitely speed up Heavenly Star Island's development. When the two heard this, they were stunned. They had not thought of this problem. After thinking about it carefully, it seemed like it was as Xiaochen said. Xiaochen continued, I am a descendant of the Qing Emperor in the first place. Furthermore, I am the Blue Dragon King personally appointed by the Thunder King. I possess the Blue Dragon martial spirit. It is perfectly justifiable for me to erect the Dragon's Gate signboard. I have to stand upright and be open and aboveboard. There is no need to have too many misgivings. Lan Xiaobai looked at the determination and stubbornness in Xiaochen's eyes. Then he smiled and said, I am fine with it. From the moment you agreed to let me accompany the Haotian sect, I already made my choice. No matter what you decide, I will support you. The Tsinglung scheme is your legend in the first place. I will continue to write it down. I also look forward to the martial Dao convention you promised me. Under the veil, Emo-chen smiled faintly and said, I never object to the things you have decided. Upon hearing the two's words, Xiaochen felt warmth in his heart. Then he solemnly thanked Emo-chen. Lan Xiaobai smiled and said, erecting a signboard might seem easy, but there are too many things to consider. Let's put this matter aside for now. You just returned to Heaven Dragon City today. Let Emo-chen bring you around the city. Lan Xiaobai got out of the chariot. He had to be thinking carefully about how Xiaochen should proceed with his decision. Xiaochen recalled the first time he met Lan Xiaobai. The other party's arrogance was still fresh in his mind. Even now, Xiaochen was somewhat curious about it. Back then, when Lan Xiaobai went to the oceanic world, what kind of blow did he suffer that made him lose the idea of writing the Tsinglung scheme by himself? Put away the war chariot. I'll bring you around Heaven Dragon City. Emo-chen's words pulled Xiaochen back to reality. He smiled faintly and put away the Flood Dragon war chariot. Then he followed Emo-chen and strolled around Heaven Dragon City. The streets and alleys were filled with people. The entire Heaven Dragon City was dozens of times more lively than before it was destroyed. Only by walking around could one feel such a change. Occasionally, the patrolling guards would greet the two respectfully when they saw them. After Chen brought Chen around the bustling business district, she led Chen to the unique Heaven Dragon dueling ground. Every detail of the dueling ground was modeled after the Dragon's Gate's ancient city. Several things had already lost their inheritance. Being able to reappear in Heaven Dragon City was very attractive to some cultivators. For example, there were walls with the Dragon's Gate's sages carved on them. As long as one cleared a few stages, one could personally touch them and feel the martial techniques the sages left on the walls. There were many such things. As Chen walked around, he discovered that several experts of the heavenly starry ocean chose to set up camp here. There were even half-step Emperor Wu who opened a dojo and built his own dueling ground. Chapter 1256. Chen explained, "Clearly, we cannot focus on every aspect of the construction of a city." After the general outline was done, I contacted the various merchant associations of the heavenly starry ocean and got them to participate. This is a major reason why Heaven Dragon City is so prosperous now. Chen's explanation was a great eye-opener for Chen. Her insight and horizons completely surpassed Chen's in this aspect. If Chen were in charge of the construction of Heaven Dragon City, he definitely would not have thought so far ahead. As Chen looked at the bustling Heaven Dragon City in the plaza in the middle of the city, he felt extremely moved. When Chen first met Chen in the Cloud Sea domain, he probably could not have imagined that such a girl would personally help him build a city that would revive the Dragon's Gate. To Chen, reviving the Dragon's Gate was actually something he could do. What Chen excelled at was the cultivation of the martial Tao. If not for Lan Xiaobai and Chen, he would not even know how to revive the Dragon's Gate. As for the future of the Dragon's Gate, Chen did not have much thought or ambition. Re-establishing the Dragon's Gate was out of a sense of responsibility as a descendant of the Qing Emperor. However, if Chen wanted to be like the Qing Emperor back then, leading the Dragon's Gate to rule the entire Kunlun realm, he would not be interested. Chen's pursuit was the supreme martial Tao, to break through to the peak. The tragedy of the Dragon's Gate's destruction in the past also told him that he could not go overboard with some things. The Qing Emperor looked like he swept through the world, unrivaled. However, there was a fact that could not be ignored. The Dragon's Gate was destroyed at the hands of the Qing Emperor. What Chen hoped for was a healthy Dragon's Gate, one that could continue the inheritance of the Dragon's Gate's sect masters. Even if Chen died one day, the spirit of the Dragon's Gate could continue on, never to be extinguished. However, this seemingly simple desire was filled with variables. The factions that feared the Dragon's Gate were not willing to see the words Dragon's Gate reappear in the world. This time, Chen wanted to make his stance known to the world. Chen was a descendant of the Qing Emperor. The Xiao clan's bloodline flowed in his veins. He was duty-bound to rebuild the Dragon's Gate. Why did he have to act like a thief and hide? It was not like he was doing something shameful. As Chen watched Chen stroll around the plaza in a daze, she understood his pain. Too many factions in the Kunlun realm feared the words Dragon's Gate. No matter how simple Chen's wish was, in the eyes of these people, they absolutely could not let Chen fulfill it. When Chen made the decision to announce the rebuilding of the Dragon's Gate to the world, the one under the most pressure would definitely be Chen. When the news spread, it would definitely shake up the entire Kunlun realm. On that day, the insignificant Heavenly Star Island might not be able to withstand such pressure. Chen had obviously considered all of this, but he still made this decision without any hesitation. "Big brother Chen, what are you thinking about?" Chen laughed, interrupting Chen's thoughts. Chen recovered his wits and smiled. He did not give a direct answer. He opened his palm, and a flower appeared. It was the dragon blood flowers that he found in the dragon grave. "There is nothing to thank you for. These are dragon blood flowers that I found in an 8-star dragon grave. Take them." Under the veil, Chen revealed a joyful smile. She cupped her hands together and accepted the flowers. The flowers drifted down from Chen's hands and piled up in Chen's hands. "Ehe. The dragon blood flower is an extremely rare existence. If I bring these flowers to the auction of the Heaven Dragon in the lower realm, they will definitely cause a huge commotion," Chen said with a smile. Xiao Chen stopped what he was doing and said, "It's best if you don't. Keep them for yourself. I still have other treasures that can be placed in the auction. These are my gifts to you." Mo Chen nodded and carefully put away the dragon blood flowers. "Whatever you say. Come, I'll bring you to the Dragon's Gate's mountain tablet. That place has already become a forbidden land of Heavenly Star Island." Xiao Chen was very curious about the Dragon's Gate's mountain tablet as well. He really wanted to take a look. What exactly was inside the mountain tablet that allowed Mo Chen and Lan Xiaobai to improve so much? Through Mo Chen's conversation, Xiao Chen learned that Lan Xiaobai had accidentally touched this mountain tablet and discovered its mysteries. After entering, he found himself in an ancient battlefield. After killing his way out of the battlefield and arriving in the real world, he was shocked to discover that the martial techniques that he practiced in the illusion could be used in the real world. However, at this moment, only an instant had passed in the real world. After hearing Mo Chen's explanation, Xiao Chen could not help but feel even more interested. To think that the things that he learned in the illusion could be used in the real world. Furthermore, no matter how much time passed in the illusion, it was just the blink of an eye in the real world. To cultivators whose time was precious, this was simply a great killing tool. After a while, the two left Heaven Dragon City and arrived at the foot of the tallest peak of Heavenly Star Island. This peak towered into the clouds. Spiritual energy lingered around it, and it was lush and green. Xiao Chen had chosen this peak to be the Dragon's Gate's summit long ago. There were many talented children on the mountain who received the teachings of Yu, Jin Lin, Lu Ku, and the others. They were the future of the Dragon's Gate. This was the Dragon's Gate's summit in the first place. Furthermore, the existence of the mountain tablet made this place even more important. Hence, the masters of Lan Xiaobai and Lan Tianji personally oversaw this place. To prevent information from leaking out, aside from a few trustworthy people, the Dragon's Gate's mountain tablet was not given to anyone else. Halfway up the mountain, Xiao Chen saw this Dragon's Gate's mountain tablet in a secluded and quiet place. Xiao Chen had chosen the location of the mountain tablet himself. The mountain tablet was made of heaven-subduing rock. When placed at a suitable location, it could guard luck and gather the surrounding geomancy. The Qing Emperor had written the words Dragon's Gate on the mountain tablet. Every stroke of the two ancient words was like a powerful bladesman brandishing a treasure saber, clean and efficient, boundlessly free and at ease. Near the Dragon's Gate's mountain tablet, Xiao Chen saw two people seated cross-legged with their eyes closed. Their expressions changed continuously as if they were in some kind of illusion. Gong Yangyu and Xianyuan Zhantian. Xiao Chen raised his eyebrows. Why are these two old friends from the Sky Dome realm here? Mo Chen explained, Heaven Dragon City has recently become famous. Furthermore, this is your territory. Many of your cultivators pretended to be your old friends and came to join you. However, most of them were swindlers. Chen Shi saw through them and verified their identities. You should know them, right? Xiao Chen nodded to indicate that he knew them. Then he revealed a faint smile on his face. It was good that they came. People tended to reminisce about the past. Furthermore, the Dragon's Gate needed these outstanding talents to join it. Now the name of the Blue Dragon King, Xiao Chen, was already known to everyone in this vast and boundless oceanic world. The stories about Xiao Chen spread like wildfire, like he was a living legend. It was not strange for people to pretend to be his old friends and come to Heavenly Star Island. Where's Senior Lan? Why don't I see him? Xiao Chen asked, finding it strange as he looked around. Wasn't Senior Lan supposed to personally guard this place? Even you can discover him. In that case, I'm called the life-reaping Azura for nothing. Lan Chaofeng silently appeared beside Xiao Chen. It was like he had been there for a long time. Then he disappeared without a trace. This startled Xiao Chen. No wonder even a sovereign martial emperor feared him. If the other party wanted to kill him, he would not even know how he died. Lan Chaofeng smiled as he looked at Xiao Chen. That pair of eyes made Xiao Chen feel like he could not hide any secrets. Not bad. It looks like the rumors are true. Little friend, your harvest this year is pretty good. Xiao Chen asked. Senior already knows about it. Lan Chaofeng nodded and said, News travels very fast in Emperor Wu's circle. You are one of the hottest topics in our circle. Even if I do not leave my residence, I know about your various exploits in the Dragon Grave Sea, the Dark Sea, and the Human Demon Sea. Xiaochen did not find this strange. Emperor Wu was the peak of the entire Kunlun realm. Ordinary people would find it hard to see or hear news about them. However, that did not mean that they did not exist. They paid attention to the entire Kunlun realm at all times. There was no major matter that they did not know about. As the two spoke in riddles, Imochen could not make heads or tails of their conversation. However, she could tell that it was good news about Xiaochen, so she did not mind. You are here to check out this Dragon's Gates mountain tablet, right? This mountain tablet is indeed profound. Even someone of my cultivation actually got lost in the illusions. When Lan Xiaofeng mentioned the Dragon's Gates mountain tablet, he also appeared shocked, unable to understand it. Xiaochen rejoiced in his heart. Senior can use this Dragon's Gates mountain tablet? I can use it, but it is not very useful. After all, after advancing to Martial Emperor, the cultivation of law energy is no longer of much use. I have already tested it. There is no way to cultivate primordial energy in there. It is more for cultivating law energy and tempering one's combat techniques, Lan Xiaofeng explained. This is not bad. If I have time in the future, I can come and experience it properly. After chatting with Lan Xiaofeng for a long time, Gong Yangyu and Xianyuan Zhantian woke up one after another. When the two saw Xiaochen, they naturally showed pleasant surprise on their faces. Xiaochen had always been easygoing to his own people, never putting on airs. This made Gong Yangyu and Xianyuan Zhantian feel that they had come to the right place. After saying their goodbyes, Imochen led Xiaochen to the top of the mountain. There, he saw Yu, who was currently teaching a group of youths martial arts. Xiaochen could not tell that this Yu was originally a pampered young Mississippi. Now when she taught a group of children, she was very methodical and had the proper bearing. Her aura had changed greatly. Originally, Xiaochen had been planning to observe quietly before visiting an old friend. However, the sharp-eyed Yu discovered him. She immediately dragged him out excitedly, wanting him to teach this group of children on the spot. She even wanted him to take a disciple. Right now, how could Xiaochen have any intention of taking a disciple? However, he did not know how to deal with Yu's coaxing and pestering. In the end, Imochen, who had been watching from the side for a long time, smiled happily and helped Xiaochen resolve this problem. However, Xiaochen still promised Yu that after he advanced to Martial Emperor, he would come and take a disciple. After that, the two went to visit Yu Chenxi, Jin Lin, Lu Ku and Xiao Xian, the first batch of people who had followed Xiaochen to Heavenly Star Island of their own volition. When Xiaochen saw that these people's cultivations all improved at a startling rate, he relaxed. In the end, he did not let them down. Back then, when these people agreed to come, Xiaochen was most worried that staying on Heavenly Star Island would affect their cultivation in the Haotian sect. Now, it looked like his worries were unfounded. If they had remained in the Haotian sect, they would not have improved as much as they did now. Chapter 1257. Unknowingly, the sky had already turned dark. However, Xiaochen was in high spirits. After being outside for a year, he felt like he had returned home. He could not get enough of the sights. Imochen tirelessly led Xiaochen around, bringing him to the refining pavilion on Black Flame Island. The scene of more than 10,000 blacksmiths of the Mo clan refining treasures at the same time was rather shocking. This sight made Xiaochen unable to resist himself, so he also joined in to satisfy his cravings. When the sky was about to brighten, Imochen brought Xiaochen to her winery to rest and savor the wine that she personally brewed. When they arrived at the winery, Xiaochen remembered the matter that he promised the Flame Rock Sovereign, so he took the opportunity to mention it to Imochen. Imochen smiled gently and said, "This is a small matter. Big brother Xiaochen, just give me the instructions." At this moment, the sky was turning bright. The rising sun would soon bring boundless light and sweep away the darkness of the entire world. The two drank and chatted, not planning to go anywhere for now. They would watch the sunrise first. The morning sun arrived as scheduled. The sunrise over the sea was something one could never get tired of watching. This was the rising sun that represented a new life. Every time one looked at it, one would feel surging hope, filling one with fighting spirit. Imochen elegantly drained the wine in her cup. Then she said, "Big brother Xiaochun, there are actually many places in Heaven Dragon City that you have not been to yet. Today, I'll bring you to the merchant district first. The people in charge of those merchant associations all want to meet you." "All right." Xiaochun happily agreed. Those large merchant associations were the gods of wealth of Heaven Dragon City. There were only benefits to befriending these people. "Miss Imochen, there is news from the transportation formation. It says that honored guests will be arriving soon, and they want you to make preparations." Just at this moment, a guard quickly walked over from the pavilion, bringing a letter. Imochen took the letter and glanced at it. Then, her expression changed slightly as she handed it to Xiaochun. "Trouble is here. I'm afraid that we can't continue walking around today. Why did the 3 holy masters send people over?" Xiaochun asked with a slight frown after reading the letter. Actually, the letter said Bushan Palace. However, right now, the Thunder King did not care about Bushan Palace. The 3 holy masters were in charge. To Xiaochun, there was no difference between the Bushan Palace and the 3 holy masters. Imochen said slowly, "I have a bad feeling." Xiaochun put away the letter and thought for a while. "I have a bad feeling." Imochen waved her hand and dismissed the person, not wanting to disturb Xiaochun's thoughts. In name, Heavenly Star Island was still under the jurisdiction of the Martial God Palace. Furthermore, it was different from the sects that joined the Martial God Palace. Dragon, Heave, Chun, Heavenly Heave Chun was under, He Dragon. Heavenly Star Island was somewhat special. Back then, before the people of the 3 holy masters left, they destroyed many of the buildings on the island, even the transportation formations. However, Xiaochun's conferred land was rather special. Back then, before the 3 holy lands people left, they destroyed several buildings on the island, even the transportation formation. Back then, the Bushan Palace did not mention the proportion of the profits from the conferred land. This was because they did not believe that Xiaochun could develop, and they did not care about this small amount of profit. What else could the Bushan Palace have to send people to assist and protect Xiaochun? Aside from envy, Xiaochun could not think of any other reason. Why did the Bushan Palace send people now? Aside from jealousy, Xiaochun could not think of any other reason. Xiaochun did not like the people of the 3 holy masters at all. During the king conferral ceremony, the 3 holy masters made things difficult for him in secret. When Xiaochun arrived at the human-demon paradise, the 3 holy masters even sent people over, openly falling out with him. Imochen knew that Xiaochun did not like this group of people. She suggested softly, "How about we turn off the transportation formations to the Bushan Palace and ignore this group of people?" All the transportation formations in the Bushan Palace system were connected. However, the transportation formations were like the airports of Xiaochun's previous life. He could freely choose which routes to turn off. Once the transportation formations were turned off, the people of the Bushan Palace would not be able to teleport over. Xiaochun said after some thought, "There's no need. The people that the other party sent this time are extraordinary. Even if we turn off the transportation formations, we might not be able to delay them for long. Instead, it will give them an excuse to reprimand us. Go and inform all the upper echelon of Heavenly Star Island to come. Give them the grandest reception. Let me see what kind of tricks these lackeys of the 3 holy lands have up their sleeves." Imochen's heart skipped a beat. Even turning off the transportation formations would not stop them. Could it be that the other party sent someone with Emperor Wu as their leader? Emperor Wu could tear space and move extremely fast. From the Kunlun continent to the Heavenly Starry Ocean, he would only need half a day to cross this boundlessly long distance. 1 hour later, Xiaochun, Lan Xiaobai, and Imochen stood together at the transportation formations of Heavenly Star Island. Yu Chenxi and the others stood behind them. All the core members of Heavenly Star Island were present, quietly waiting for the Bushan Palace's envoy to arrive. No one knew when the Bushan Palace's envoy would arrive. Lan Xiaobai took advantage of the free time to discuss the important points of the Dragon's Gate's re-establishment with Xiaochun. "Last night, I looked through many ancient texts. There are many grand re-establishment ceremonies in history. There are many etiquettes and ceremonies to take note of. I've organized them roughly. After this matter is over, you can take a look. Xiaochen smiled and said, I'll leave this matter to you. Once you have the plan, you can make the arrangements yourself. I trust you. Xiaochen's trust allowed Lan Xiaobai to release his bated breath. He was afraid of outsiders interfering in this matter. Since Xiaochen was so assured, it would not be difficult to make the arrangements. The ancient re-establishment ceremonies are rather extravagant. I feel that we can omit some unnecessary things. The only thing is paying respects to the ancestors. We cannot be careless about this, Lan Xiaobai continued. Xiaochen nodded. This was exactly what he wanted. The extravagance was not important. What was important was his responsibility to the ancestors of the Dragon's Gate. As Xiaochen spoke, the transportation formation flickered with a multicolored light. The two stopped talking, and everyone's expressions turned grave. Everyone knew that this person did not come with good intentions, and would not be easy to deal with. The light stopped flickering, and a fiery red azure luan appeared in the center of the transportation formation. The azure luan possessed the bloodline of the vermilion bird, an ancient mutated beast. It represented a noble status, and possessed extremely strong control over fire. This azure luan exuded a strong aura. Xiaochen estimated that even if his 4 deep-sea flood dragons worked together, they would not be a match for this azure luan. There was a total of 5 people on the back of the azure luan. All of them wore the faint golden clothes of the Bushan Palace. Of the 5, one was the most special. The others were all standing, but he sat on the back of the azure luan, resting with his eyes closed. This person did not look old. A picture of the vermilion bird, a divine bird, was embroidered on his collar. He must be an elder of the Phoenix's Passion Palace, a holy land. When Emochen saw this person, she felt startled. Xiaochen was right. Emperor Wu was indeed among the people who came. He had some doubts in his heart. He did not know how Xiaochen was able to predict this, to be able to guess it. Actually, it was not hard to guess. In the human-demon paradise, Xiaochen had killed many half-step Emperor Wu by himself. The people of the 3 holy masters' land already understood that without Emperor Wu, they would not be able to suppress Xiaochen. The azure luan covered in flames spread its wings, and the divine beast bloodline flowing in its body spread out, pressing down on Xiaochen's side. Whoosh! Under the pressure of this aura, some people on Xiaochen's side could not stand stably, feeling strained. After all, the azure luan's blood contained a trace of the vermilion bird's bloodline. After this divine beast bloodline was activated, ordinary people would find it hard not to be suppressed. The leader of the people on the azure luan's back revealed a cold smile. It looked like they were doing this on purpose to put on a show of strength to Xiaochen's group. Just as Xiaochen was preparing to deal with this divine might alone, Little Yellow Feather suddenly came out of the immortal spirit ring. The moment the palm-sized Little Yellow Feather came out, it easily neutralized the divine might from the azure luan. After the huge azure luan saw Little Yellow Feather, its flames burned endlessly. It trembled slightly. The Bushan Palace's envoy on the azure luan's back also started shaking. The leader did his best to control the azure luan, but it was useless. Little Yellow Feather's figure suddenly enlarged. It glared at the azure luan, thoroughly frightening it. A strong wind blew, and the azure luan retreated in horror. It prostrated itself on the ground, trembling. This sudden change happened in an instant. The 4 or 5 people on the azure luan's back were caught off guard, and they were flung off. Aside from the middle-aged man with the vermilion bird embroidered on his collar, the other 4 fell to the ground, covered in dust. Only then did they quickly stand back up. Little Yellow Feather flapped its belly with one of its wings in the air as it laughed, looking incredibly cute. The group of people from Heavenly Star Island could not help laughing as well. Even Xiaochen could not help revealing a smile on his face. Is it very funny? Xiaochen, is this how you treat the Bushan Palace's envoy? Everyone says that you are arrogant and conceited, considering everyone else beneath you. Today, I finally get to see it for myself. The leader of the group suppressed his anger as he walked over to accuse Xiaochen. The middle-aged Emperor Wu, who was seated cross-legged, seemed to move in slow motion. He opened his eyes in the air and slowly landed on the ground. A formless emperor's might, working together with the leader of the group, swept over silently. The fight unfolded invisibly. The Golden Crow Holy Beast helped Xiao Chen gain a small victory. Then, the other party's Emperor Wu immediately made a move, unleashing his emperor's might. Indeed, those who came did not come with good intentions. How arrogant! Do you know who I am? I am Wang Feng, one of the 10 patrolling elders of the Bushan Palace. That person over there is Elder Xing of the Law Enforcement Hall. He kills the traitors of the Bushan Palace and has the authority to act first and report later. The patrolling elder named Wang Feng showed a sullen expression as he pressed forward. Who gave you the courage to be so rude to us? Are you trying to rebel? A strong aura combined with that Elder Xing's emperor's might made it hard for the group to breathe. Isn't it just a moment of carelessness and falling off the bird's back? Why are you putting on airs, trying to accuse us of such a big crime? Jin Lin had a fiery temper. He simply could not stand the other party's aloof attitude, so he could not help saying this angrily. Wang Feng mocked. Where did this trash come from? You don't even know the rules. Do you have the right to speak here? Xiao Chen smiled faintly and stretched out his hand to block Jin Lin. Then, he looked at Wang Feng and said, You want to talk to me about the rules? Very well, I will talk to you about the rules. Xiao Chen did not discipline his spirit beast well, causing it to be careless and frighten your Azure Luan. I apologize to all of you. Chapter 1258. Wang Feng felt somewhat surprised at how rational Xiao Chen was, not angered into doing something rash. Wang Feng felt somewhat surprised. At the same time, he felt dissatisfied. If the other party did not make a mistake, he would not be able to catch him. He said coldly, This beast is frighteningly bold. Do you think it will be fine just because you apologized? Break one of its wings and punish it severely. Xiao Chen was being unreasonable. Everyone on Heavenly Star Island was enraged. This was completely unreasonable. If a holy beast broke one of its wings, it would be crippled. Xiao Chen's expression did not change. He went along with the other party's words and said, You are right, not wrong at all. However, spirit beasts are mischievous, but that is just their nature. The one at fault is me, the master. Blood spurted out. The one who should be punished should be me. I will receive this saber strike on his behalf. Without giving Wang Feng a chance to react, a short saber appeared in Xiao Chen's hand. Pussy. Then he stabbed it into his chest, causing blood to spurt out. Wang Feng was standing rather close to Xiao Chen. Blood splattered all over his face. He quickly took 3 steps back, somewhat frightened. How ruthless! Seeing the unchanging expression of Xiao Chen, this thought appeared in the hearts of the Bushan Palace's group. They were all shocked. Even Emperor Wu revealed a strange look in his eyes. Patrolling Elder, what do you think of this punishment? Xiao Chen asked coldly as he drew the bloody short saber. The blood on Wang Feng's face had not dried yet. As he looked at Xiao Chen, horror filled his eyes. When he heard Xiao Chen's words, his voice trembled as he said, Yes, yes. This matter is over. Let's go and talk about proper matters. A murderous intent flashed in Xiao Chen's eyes. He shouted coldly, Who told you that this matter is over? How is it not over? Wang Feng felt somewhat weak from Xiao Chen's gaze. He did not know why, but he felt nervous. Xiao Chen continued, What did you just call me? Xiao Chen. If I don't call you Xiao Chen, what should I call you? Xiao Chen smiled coldly and said, Call me Xiao Chen? I earned 1,000,000 battle merits and was conferred the title of Blue Dragon King, and personally appointed by the Thunder King. Anyone in the Bushan Palace who has not become an emperor is not allowed to call me by my name. Who gave you the guts to call me by my name? Are you doubting the prestige of the Thunder King, and disapproving of my identity as the Blue Dragon King? Or do you have ulterior motives and are up to no good? Speak. Xiao Chen stepped forward, the killing intent in his words growing thicker. Finally he shouted, causing Wang Feng to tremble. Wang Feng's heart thumped heavily, and cold sweat covered his back. His face was pale, and he could not say a word. I was wrong, Blue Dragon King. Wang Feng struggled to get up with great difficulty. Before Xiao Chen's domineering aura, he was forced to apologize. Do you think a simple apology is enough? That's not what you said earlier. Xiao Chen's expression didn't change at all. Wang Feng raised his head and demanded angrily, "What do you want? Do you want to chop off one of my arms?" Xiao Chen retorted coldly, "Since you are following the rules and trying to frame me, then I will follow the rules as well. This king can follow the rules and kill you for the crime of great disrespect. Today, I will only chop off one of your arms. You should rejoice." The moment Xiao Chen said that, the air seemed to freeze. Unexpectedly, Xiao Chen really wanted to chop off one of this envoy's arms. How could that be? "Stop!" The law enforcement hall's elder Xing immediately shouted. Whoosh! A saber light flashed. Xiao Chen ignored this cold shout. He drew the lunar shadow saber and directly chopped off Wang Feng's left arm, whose momentum had fallen to rock bottom. Ah! A miserable shriek rang out. Blood spurted out from the wound on Wang Feng's arm. He had not expected Xiao Chen to be so ruthless and bold, really chopping off one of his arms. Amid the miserable shriek, the group from Bushan Palace was frightened silly. After a while, they reacted and quickly picked up Wang Feng's severed arm. Then they bandaged the wound. If they treated it in time, it would not be difficult to reattach the arm. However, it would definitely be much less nimble. You actually really attacked. Elder Xing could no longer suppress his rage. An overwhelming killing chi surged toward Xiao Chen. A heavy emperor's might pressed down on Xiao Chen like a mountain. Elder Xing walked toward Xiao Chen step by step. The entire place was tense. Lan Xiaobai and the others all placed their hands on their weapons. They did not have a good impression of the martial god palace. They had come to Heavenly Star Island step by step. These people who established Heavenly Star Island step by step did not agree to this. Under the leadership of the three holy masters, the Bushan Palace not only did not provide any help, but they even secretly played tricks on Heavenly Star Island. Without doing anything, Xiao Chen wanted to reap the fruits of his labor. These people, who established Heavenly Star Island, would never agree. As for Xiao Chen, this went without saying. The three holy masters had already shed all pretense of cordiality with him. If not for the fact that the three holy masters' minions still had the skin of Bushan Palace, these people would not have been able to come to his conferred land to flaunt their might. Xiao Chen would not show any mercy and teach them a deep lesson if these people came to his conferred land to flaunt their might. Now, Xiao Chen only broke one of Elder Xing's arms. Seeing Elder Xing walk over step by step, Xiao Chen did not show any fear. He faced him head-on, not showing any fear at all. Xiao Chen did not care about the first Heaven Emperor Wu's insignificant emperor's might. You injured a patrolling elder. According to the rules of Bushan Palace, I can kill you right now, Elder Xing said, enunciating every word. The law enforcement hall was a fearsome department within Bushan Palace. When dealing with rebels, they had the authority to act first and report later. Their methods were cold, and they did things cruelly. They were a great deterrent to the entire human race. This time, the three holy masters sent a law enforcement hall elder over for one of their main purposes. It was to intimidate Xiao Chen, to prevent him from acting rashly. Who knew, not only did Xiao Chen make a move, but he even chopped off one of Wang Feng's arms right in front of this elder. Elder Xing could not tolerate this at all. Since when did someone dare to make a move and injure someone in front of the law enforcement hall? Xiao Chen smiled coldly and said, "Rules? Who was the one who did not follow the rules first? Who was the one who labeled me first? Who was the one who pointed at my nose and said that you broke one of my spirit beast's wings? Are you even qualified to talk to me about rules?" Xiao Chen's words were like knives, drawing blood with every strike, forcing Elder Xing to be unable to find any rebuttal. I am a law enforcement hall elder. I have the authority to act first and report later. I will kill you now, you disgraceful traitor. Elder Xing grew anxious and prepared to make a move, to show Xiao Chen the true rules. Rules were dead, but people were alive. Being stronger than you was the rule. Xiao Chen stepped forward and snorted coldly. Why don't you give it a try and see what kind of place this is? Let's see who kills who in the end. The upper echelon of Heavenly Star Island behind Xiao Chen, Lan Xiaobai and the others, also stepped forward with a flourishing aura. pressing over. Where was this? This was Heavenly Star Island, the Blue Dragon King's conferred land. Everyone was united. Their aura and mentality instantly suppressed this Elder Shing, causing his actions to pause. Even further away, Elder Shing raised his head and accidentally saw a figure standing there silently. However, when Elder Shing looked carefully, he could not find that person. It was like that person had always been there, but it also seemed like he had never appeared. Elder Shing was startled. This time, he was truly startled. Heavenly Star Island was filled with crouching tigers and hidden dragons. The upper echelon of the island were all extremely loyal to Xiaochen. Their hearts were all united, and they all had the courage and boldness to face death calmly. Elder Shing, never mind. This time, I was the one who did not follow the rules first. You can't blame the Blue Dragon King. Let's talk about proper matters first. Wang Feng, who had just bandaged his wound, saw that the situation was not right, so he admitted defeat. With a cold harumph, Elder Shing walked to the back of the hall. The tense atmosphere relaxed. Emochan rushed over and removed the short saber from Xiaochen's chest in one go, then helped him bandage his wound. Does it hurt? Emochan saw Xiaochen's lips twitch, and she felt some heartache. This person was too ruthless, ruthless to himself and ruthless to his enemies. Xiaochen smiled and said, "It's fine. Actually, there is no need to bandage it. The wound will close up on its own in a while." Nonsense. That way, you will die of pain. If I apply some medicine, it will lessen the pain, and you will recover faster. Emochan insisted. Xiaochen smiled faintly, but he could only accept it helplessly. After bandaging Wang Feng's chest, Xiaochen said, "Jin Lin, lead the way for the envoys to the main hall of the city lord's residence." After saying that, Xiaochen led a group of people over. Now only the 5 envoys from Bushin Palace and Jin Lin, who was leading the way, remained around the transportation formation. No one else gave this group of envoys a second glance. No one liked this group of people. Jin Lin glanced at Wang Feng's wound and smiled. "One-armed hero, please." "You." When Wang Feng saw Jin Lin's mocking expression, he gritted his teeth hatefully. This person, whom he looked down on earlier, actually dared to mock him now. Jin Lin smiled and said, "Sorry, I have a bad temper. That's just how I speak. If there is anything that is not pleasing to the eye, just keep it to yourself. In any case, one-armed hero, you do not care about me." After saying that, Xiaochen flung his head back and took the lead, not caring whether this group of people could keep up or not. This is too much of a bully. If this fellow were in the Tianwu domain, this old man would have crippled him in minutes. Wang Feng cursed angrily. Unexpectedly, this minor character that he looked down on earlier was now riding on his head. Elder Shing looked around, seemingly wary of a certain figure. When he heard Wang Feng's words, a trace of impatience flashed in his eyes. "This is Heavenly Star Island. You are flaunting your prowess here. It serves you right to chop off an arm." Damn, Wang Feng cursed. From the very start of this mission, everything had gone wrong. The proper matters would be even more difficult to handle. In the main hall of the city lord's residence, Xiaochen sat in the host's seat in the center. Mo Chun and Lan Xiaobai stood on his left and right. On the right were Wang Feng and Elder Shing. It was not convenient for Wang Feng to drink tea with one hand. He only wanted to quickly finish the mission that the 3 holy masters gave him, and quickly leave this place. I'll cut to the chase. Blue Dragon King, your conferred land has not signed a contract with the Bushin Palace to hand over the profits. This time, we are here to represent the Bushin Palace to discuss this. After you sign the contract, we will leave. Mo Chen received the contract from the other party, and whispered a few words into Xiao Chen's ear. Then, Xiao Chen put down his teacup and smiled. "Interesting. You want to take 30% of the profits without doing anything? How shameless are you?" Wang Feng no longer had his initial arrogance. He said, "The profits can be discussed. Furthermore, we do not need to do anything in the first place. The words Bushin Palace are sufficient." Xiao Chen found this somewhat funny. "That's enough?" Wang Feng said righteously, "Of course. With the Bushin Palace behind you, who would dare to touch Heavenly Star Island?" Just based on these 3 words, Each word can take 10% of the profits. 3 words means 30%. Now we can negotiate. We only want 10% of the profits for your Heavenly Star Island. Chapter 1259. Xiaoqun burst into laughter. He had seen shameless people before, but he had never seen such a shameless person. After laughing until his stomach hurt a little, Xiaoqun seemed to agree with this statement. Yes, that makes sense. However, can we use the specialties of Heavenly Star Island to replace this profit? Can we guarantee that the quantity is unique? Wang Feng and Elder Xing exchanged glances. They felt that it was fine as long as they did not return empty-handed. Some of the specialties of Heavenly Star Island were rather valuable in the Kunlun continent. Sure. I wonder what specialty the Blue Dragon King intends to use. Is it Heavenly Star Island's secret treasures, fine wine, or divine ore? Wang Feng asked. Xiaoqun shook his head. None of them. There are more than that. As long as the 3 holy masters say so, we can have as many as we want. What is it? Xiaoqun's words piqued Wang Feng's interest. Xiaoqun smiled faintly. With a wave of his hand, he condensed 2 clumps of air and tossed them to Wang Feng and Elder Xing. What is this? Is this air? Wang Feng and Elder Xing asked, feeling confused. Xiaoqun said, That's right. That's right. It is the unique air of Heavenly Star Island. I will give you as much as you want. Wang Feng and Elder Xing immediately realized that they had been fooled. They stood up furiously and said, Xiaoqun, what is the meaning of this? Don't push your luck. Xiaoqun said calmly, I don't mean anything because the words Bushin Palace are like air here. Air for air, none of us will lose out. You're going too far. This was the first time that Elder Xing had been toyed with so miserably, and he couldn't hold himself back any longer. Dong dong dong. At this moment, a series of footsteps sounded, and a guard walked in. He cupped his hands and said, Castellan, there's urgent news from the city gate. The 2 young masters of the West Ocean Dragon Palace and the East Ocean Dragon Palace have arrived at the same time, and requested to see you. The young masters of the West Ocean Dragon Clan and the East Ocean Dragon Clan came at the same time. The envoy from Bushin Palace was already troublesome enough to come at this time. And now there were 2 more. The Blue Dragon King has an honored guest. Haha. In that case, let's put this aside for now. When Wang Feng and Elder Xing heard this, they immediately knew that trouble had come for Xiaoqun. A smile appeared on his face, and he sat down at the same time, preparing to see how Xiaoqun would deal with 2 young masters at the same time. If Xiaoqun couldn't handle it, he could take the opportunity to teach him a lesson and let him know his place. Are the 2 of you not going to leave? Emo-chun, who was beside Xiaoqun, asked. The one-armed Wang Feng smiled and said, It's fine. We already know about the relationship between Heavenly Star Island and the Divine Dragon Palaces of the 4 seas. They are not very harmonious. Recently, their relationship with the West Ocean Dragon Palace was like fire and water. Since we're here, we naturally have to lend a hand and mediate. Elder Xing snorted coldly. Does the Blue Dragon King need you to mediate? Didn't you hear others say that we are heir? Wang Feng slapped his head and said, I forgot about that. In that case, let's watch how the Blue Dragon King teaches the 2 young masters of the Western Sea Divine Dragon Palace and the Eastern Sea Divine Dragon Palace a lesson, raising the prestige of our Bushin Palace. The 2 echoed each other, clearly intending to watch a good show from the sidelines, waiting for Xiaoqun to make a fool of himself. Xiaoqun could not be bothered with them. He would deal with the situation as it came. He already had enough trouble. He did not mind the 2 young masters of the Western Sea Divine Dragon Palaces coming at the same time. Then he waved his hand and instructed the guard, invite the 2 of them in. The guard hesitated for a while before asking, should we invite their attendants in as well? Xiaoqun felt excited. The reason the guard hesitated to ask this question was probably because the attendants of these 2 were not simple. It's fine. Let them in together, Xiaoqun said decisively after thinking for a while. If these 2 wanted to watch a joke, then let's see who the joke was. Yes. The guard left to carry out the order. At this moment, Wang Feng and Elder Xing were much more relaxed. They drank tea and chatted casually, occasionally glancing at Xiao Chen. They wanted to see some suspicion on Xiao Chen's face. Without a doubt, they could not see anything. I don't believe that he'll be able to hold on forever. Judging from the guard's tone, he's not going to be able to hold on. Based on that guard's tone, the two young masters of the Western Sea Divine Dragon Palaces probably brought an expert of the same level as Emperor Wu. Heavenly Star Island has a mysterious Emperor Wu holding down the fort. A regular Emperor Wu would not be able to suppress him. It's fine. At that time, I might as well provoke him. Given his temper, he will definitely not let the person behind the scenes make a move. Furthermore, if he let the person behind the scenes make a move, he would be weaker than the two Divine Dragon Palaces. In front of the two Dragon Palaces, they are inferior. You should know that the Dragon Palace Masters are not here. As long as he dares to make a move, I will personally teach him a lesson. When have I, the bona fide Emperor Wu, ever been fooled by a junior? The two sent voice transmissions, discussing countermeasures. They had to make good use of this opportunity that was presented to them. Not long after, Lung Xiaofan and another young man in a red dragon robe walked into the main hall. An old man followed each of them. Indeed, the two old men were first Heaven Martial Emperors, Emperor Wu. As they walked, they had a majestic gait. Their auras were like mountains, and their gazes were like sabers, deterring others from looking directly at them. The moment the four entered, they discovered Wang Feng and Elder Xing, who were seated at the side. They revealed suspicious expressions in their eyes. Before Xiao Chen could say anything, Wang Feng smiled and said, "The two of you should be the young masters of the Eastern Sea Divine Dragon Palace and the Western Sea Divine Dragon Palace. We are the elders of the Law Enforcement Hall and the Inspection Institution of the Bushan Palace. We are just here to drink tea. The few of you can just ignore us. In the eyes of the Blue Dragon King, we are just air." The moment Wang Feng said that, smiles appeared in the eyes of Lung Xiaofan and that youth. They had long heard that the Blue Dragon King did not get along with the three holy masters in charge of the Bushan Palace. It looked like the rumor was true. After the casual greetings, Lung Xiaofan looked at Xiao Chen and said, "Brother Xiao, is my Flood Dragon War Chariot good enough?" Xiao Chen smiled calmly and said, "Many thanks for Brother Lung's gift. There are not many people who can be as generous as Brother Lung. It is passable for me." Lung Xiaofan's face sank as he said angrily, "Don't give me that. If you do not return the war chariot to me today, don't blame me for not giving you face. Even the Thunder King cannot cover for snatching the war chariot of my Eastern Sea Divine Dragon Palace." The red-clad youth at the side said, "You drained an elder of my Western Sea Divine Dragon Palace until he became an idiot. You have to give us an explanation today. Don't go overboard with some things." What a fellow! Wang Feng and Elder Xing both sucked in a breath of cold air. They had not expected Xiao Chen to be so bold. Not only did he snatch the war chariot of the Eastern Sea Divine Dragon Palace's young palace master, but he also drained an elder of the Western Sea Divine Dragon Palace until he became an idiot. Lung Xiaofan and Elder Xing did not stand on ceremony with Xiao Chen at all. This time they brought Emperor Wu here, intending to forcefully suppress Xiao Chen and make him submit. Perhaps they could force the person behind the scenes to make a move. That way, the palace masters of the Eastern and Western Dragon Palaces would have an excuse to make a move. Wang Feng looked around and took advantage of the situation to say, "Blue Dragon King Xiao Chen, don't go overboard. Since you snatched the war chariot, then return it to someone else. Even if you injured someone, you have to apologize. Otherwise, you will not be able to bear the consequences of ruining the reputation of my Bushan Palace." Lung Xiaofan's group felt surprised. Unexpectedly, this person from the Bushan Palace actually spoke up for them. Now they felt even more confident. Xiao Chen glanced over and smiled coldly. "Since when do I need you to tell me what to do? Who do you think you are? I am the patrolling elder of the Bushan Palace. I have the authority to protect the reputation of the Bushan Palace. What you did ruined the reputation of my Bushan Palace, so I have to do something about it." Xiao Chen smiled and said, "Is it up to you to do something about it? Groveling and groveling like you, clearly admitting that you were wrong, is ruining the reputation of my Bushan Palace. Are you even fit to be a patrolling elder? I think you are muddled and need to clear your head. Pa. Xiao Chen's figure flashed. His speed was boundlessly fast. Before Wang Feng could react, a 5-fingered handprint appeared on his face. You dare to slap me? Wang Feng roared angrily as he rubbed his face. Xiao Chen said coldly, let me see if your skin is made of flesh or not. To think that you are this shameless. To think that you are actually speaking up for an outsider on my heavenly star island. I have long found the people of the 3 holy masters' lands an eyesore. You delivered yourself to me and even dare to criticize me. Do you really think that I am easy to bully? This slap is aimed at you. You better behave yourself. If you speak out of turn again, I will take your life. Xiao Chen's forcefulness stunned Wang Feng. He rubbed his face for a long time, unable to say anything. When Wang Feng saw the disdainful gaze of Leng Xiaofan's group, his face burned even hotter. The Patrolling Institute was different from the Law Enforcement Hall. It was not a powerless organization. Instead, it was an organization with real authority within the Bushan Palace. The Patrolling Institute had a lot of authority. Normally, it was awe-inspiring and did not need to be particularly strong. However, Wang Feng, who was used to being awe-inspiring in the Bushan Palace, did not expect him to not follow the rules, not caring about the 3 holy masters at all, daring to humiliate Elder Xing like that. Xiao Chen, don't go overboard. Elder Xing could no longer endure it. No matter what, he had to teach this brat a lesson. Otherwise, he would really become lawless. I'm going overboard? Xiao Chen laughed loudly and stood up. I know what you are thinking now. I also know that you have endured for a long time. I'll give you this chance now. If you can defeat me fair and square, I will return this heavenly star island with both hands. If you lose, scram immediately. Xiao Chen spoke the words in his heart first. Elder Xing felt like something was stuck in his throat. It was extremely unbearable. And you all? Xiao Chen shifted his gaze and looked at Leng Xiaofan, and the Western Sea Divine Dragon Palace's young palace master. Since you even brought Emperor Wu over, why the need to speak so much nonsense? Let's settle the matters between cultivators in a duel between cultivators. I will do as you all wish. As Emperor Wu, do you all dare to fight with me, a consummation blue-robed emperor? As long as one of you can defeat me, I will leave immediately. The silent Xiao Chen suddenly erupted, startling the group of people. Contrary to everyone's expectations, Xiao Chen took the initiative to challenge the 3 Emperor Wu without any provocation. What Xiao Chen said was what these people were thinking. However, for some reason, when Xiao Chen said it himself, the 3 Emperor Wu felt it was strange. Instead, they did not dare to say anything. Should they agree or not? They fell into a momentary state of anxiety. Lan Xiaobai and Mo Chen exchanged glances. They both saw worry in each other's eyes. Elder Xing agreed to it. This fellow is reckless. Let's fulfill his wish today. Wang Feng said impatiently, his face burning. Wang Feng said in a rush, his face burning. As he looked at Xiao Chen, he gritted his teeth in hatred. Chapter 1260. However, Elder Xing hesitated. Recently, there was a piece of news circulating in Emperor Wu's circle. It was extremely explosive. The Qing Emperor's descendant comprehended the sharp spirit finger, the flame rock sovereign's consummate technique, in 10 days in the Black Sea. Originally, Elder Xing felt that this rumor was too fake. How could someone comprehend the secret of a sovereign martial emperor in 10 days? That was a bit too nonsensical. It was simply unbelievable. However, based on Xiao Chen's current appearance, filled with confidence, could he have really comprehended the sharp spirit finger? If that was the case, it would be problematic. The sharp spirit finger could gather all the energy in the body at one point. With Xiao Chen's current cultivation, this sharp spirit finger would be sufficient to injure them. After all, they were only first heaven Emperor Wus. Before cultivators who had not advanced to martial emperor. Even if they were half-step Emperor Wus, they were aloof existences. However, in Emperor Wu's circle they were at the bottom. Elder Xing agreed to his request. What are you hesitating for? After we win, we will be able to complete our mission perfectly. Seeing that Elder Xing still did not agree, Wang Feng could not help feeling anxious. However, Elder Xing cursed Wang Feng in his heart for being an idiot. Even the 2 Emperor Wus of the Divine Dragon Palaces are not anxious. Why is this fellow so anxious? He is Emperor Wu. It is natural for him to win. However, if he lost to Xiao Chun, his reputation would be completely ruined. If that happened, his reputation would be completely ruined. From then on, he would become a big joke in the circle of martial emperors. The 2 Emperor Wus of the Divine Dragon Palaces also thought the same, and did not make a decision. They wanted to wait for Elder Xing to speak first. Then, they could see Xiao Chen's strength first before making a decision. This was a foolproof plan. Just like that, they waited for each other. The place became strangely quiet. When faced with Xiao Chen's forceful request for a battle, the 3 Emperor Wus remained silent at the same time. No one would believe that a mere blue-robed emperor in the Great Perfection realm could make all 3 Emperor Wu stay silent out of caution. Xiao Chen laughed out loud. His presumptuous laughter was filled with mockery. No wonder you guys are only Emperor Wu of the first heaven. With such courage, I guess you guys will never have the courage to go through the thunder tribulation of the second heaven. If you want to fight, then fight. If you don't want to fight, then scram. I don't have time to waste with you. Send the guests out. The 3 Emperor Wus were so angry that they were shaking. But the more Xiao Chen acted like this, the more they felt that he was unfathomable. It wasn't that they were afraid of Xiao Chen. They were just afraid of the 1 in a million possibility of it happening to them. For an Emperor Wu to defeat a Great Perfection blue-robed emperor, the victory was not glorious at all. It was only natural. However, if there was such a 1 in a million possibility of defeat, then it was over. They would become Xiao Chen's stepping stones, unable to raise their heads for the rest of their lives. Furthermore, along the way, there were simply too many legends about him. When facing such a man, it was hard to choose between a rock and a hard place. When Xiao Chen said to send the guests off, the few Emperor Wu's faces flashed with shame. Send the guests off? Xiao Chen, don't think that you can resolve today's matter so easily. I don't believe that you are so strong that there are no limits. Lung Xiaofan felt aggrieved. He had brought Emperor Wu's here to humiliate Xiao Chen and take back his Flood Dragon War Chariot. Who knew that under Xiao Chen's forceful request for a battle, the Emperor Wu he had brought would actually cower? This was unacceptable to Lung Xiaofan. In his impulse, Lung Xiaofan wanted to attack Xiao Chen directly. The Western Sea Divine Dragon Palace's red-clad young palace master roared furiously and charged over together with Lung Xiaofan. Youthful and arrogant, Lung Xiaofan and the red-clad young palace master gave off a sharpness that was much stronger than that of the 3 older generation Emperor Wus. While the others were fearful and apprehensive, Lung Xiaofan and the red-clad young palace master did not need to worry so much. At worst, they would just lose. Lung Xiaofan just could not stand Xiao Chen's current strong aura. Xiao Chen smiled and said, "You overestimate yourself. Lung Xiaofan, do you still think that I am the white-robed Xiao Chen who came to the heavenly starry ocean 3 years ago? Today, let me tell you that the gap between us is 10,000 times larger than you imagine. Back then, for the sake of the Neptune headscarf, you schemed against me. Today, I will return it to you. Kneel for me." When facing the charging Lung Xiaofan, Xiao Chen could not be bothered to think about the flaws in his opponent's moves. He simply threw a palm strike, directly using force to break technique. Xiao Chen used his strong cultivation and strength to crush all the other party's techniques. When Xiao Chen's palm strike landed, it was like the sky collapsed. Lung Xiaofan felt all the state and aura of his martial technique crumble in that instant. Xiao Chen's palm strike expanded infinitely in Lung Xiaofan's eyes. His heart sank for some reason. Horror spread throughout Lung Xiaofan's entire body. He was so frightened that he broke out in a cold sweat. He wanted to retreat but found that it was already too late. Pa! Xiao Chen's palm landed on Lung Xiaofan's shoulder, and primordial energy flowed out of his palm. This was a strong energy that Lung Xiaofan had only seen from his seniors. It flowed through his entire body, and he fell to his knees. Purple primordial energy flowed through Lung Xiaofan's body. The strong restriction instantly rendered him immobile, and he could only kneel. Compared to Lung Xiaofan, the red-clad youth's cultivation was weaker. The instant Lung Xiaofan wanted to retreat, Xiao Chen sucked hard and pulled him back. Xiao Chen smacked down with his left hand, and he fell to his knees beside Lung Xiaofan with a plop. The two knelt at nearly the same time. From the moment they attacked to the moment Xiao Chen restrained them, all happened in the time it took for a spark to fly. The two Emperor Wu behind them could not stop them at all. This resulted in Lung Xiaofan and the red-clad youth being humiliated by Xiao Chen for nothing. Young master. The Eastern Sea Divine Dragon Palace's yellow-clad old man was the first to react. He exclaimed. With a flash, his figure moved so fast that no one could catch him. Soon he arrived before Xiao Chen. The other person took this opportunity to arrive before Lung Xiaofan and the red-clad youth, wanting to make a move and remove the restriction on them. The other party charged over ferociously. Xiao Chen took a step back. With each step, 3 lightning whirlpools appeared on his chest. You are truly boundlessly arrogant. To think that you dare to attack the young master. Don't blame this old man for disregarding seniority and attacking you. The yellow-clad old man attacked in rage. Everywhere his palm wind passed, it tore apart the air, giving off an intense light. In an instant, the tables and chairs in the main hall shattered, and the entire city lord's residence shook violently. Mo Chun and Lan Xiaobai immediately flashed out at the same time. This level of exchange was no longer something they could interfere in. If not for the newly built Heaven Dragon City being a secret treasure in itself, the main hall would have collapsed. Xiao Chen was not startled or angry. He was not anxious or impatient. He prepared the sharp spirit finger and counted in his heart. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps kill. After the sharp spirit finger finished preparing, Xiao Chen's sullen face suddenly surged with killing chi. 9 lightning whirlpools appeared in his chest, giving off thousands of lightning bolts. All the energy gathered on his fingertip. The light in the main hall dimmed. Only the electric light on Xiao Chen's fingertip remained as dazzling as the sun. Wuxia. Blood spurted out, and the yellow-clad old man went flying. A black hole appeared in his palm, and half his palm disappeared. You really comprehended the sharp spirit finger, the consummate technique of the Flame Rock Sovereign. The yellow-clad old man exclaimed in disbelief as he looked at his palm in a daze. The yellow-clad old man's heart trembled. Fortunately, he had not been careless with his earlier palm strike, and used all 100 strands of primordial energy. If he had been careless, his entire arm would have been blown off. The sharp spirit finger allowed the Flame Rock Sovereign's fame to spread far and wide. Even primes did not dare to casually touch this consummate technique. It truly lived up to its reputation. Oh no! There is primordial energy in the 2 young palace masters' bodies. We cannot casually remove the restrictions. On the other side, the black-clothed old man's forehead was also drenched in cold sweat. An anxious look flashed across his eyes. The Divine Dragon Palace's young palace master, and the sweating black-clad old man looked at the yellow-clad old man, who was in a daze. Xiao Chen had complete control over the situation. Even Emperor Wu might not be omnipotent against him. To Emperor Wu, who cultivated the golden body, losing half his palm was not a serious injury. Even if his heart was blown up, given a certain amount of time, he would be able to recover. However, the golden body of a first heaven martial emperor had not reached the point where it could recover instantly. His arm was temporarily crippled, and his combat prowess immediately dropped by 30%. When the yellow-clad old man saw the missing palm, he looked at Xiao Chen. Shock and rage flashed in his eyes. There was also a faint fear in his eyes. With the sharp spirit finger, this fellow really had the ability to fight against First Heaven Emperor Wu. Xiao Chen quickly removed the restrictions on the 2 young palace masters. If anything happens to the young palace masters, the Eastern Sea Dragon King and the Western Sea Dragon King will absolutely not let you off. The black-clad old man could not remove the restrictions. Sweat covered his forehead as he roared at Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen said indifferently, "Watch your attitude. So what if I kill these 2 people? Don't forget that they were the ones who attacked me first. If you shout again, I will cripple these 2 people." When the black-clad old man heard that, he asked sullenly, "What do I have to do for you to release them?" "It's very simple. Someone help me write 2 contracts. Young Master Lung, didn't you come to ask for the war chariot? Now sign here and hand over the war chariot to me. Furthermore, Compensate me for the loss of 10,000 essence stones. Didn't this Western Sea Divine Dragon Palace's young palace master want my Heavenly Star Island to hand over the profits? Now, sign here and guarantee that the Western Sea Divine Dragon Palace will never mention this matter again, and compensate me with 10,000 essence stones as well. The moment Xiao Chen made his request, the two Divine Dragon Palace old men became enraged. 10,000 essence stones? Are you crazy? How can we possibly take that out? 10,000 essence stones equaled all the wealth of First Heaven Emperor Wu. Even if they could take it out, they could not bear to do so. Xiao Chen retorted calmly. Is that so? You can't bear to take it out, but the Divine Dragon Palace can. After repeatedly coming to my Heaven Dragon City to cause trouble. Do you really think that there is no interest at all? You. This is too much of a bully. Xiao Chen smiled and said, Seniors, you are being too serious. This little one is just a consummation blue-robed emperor. How could I dare to bully the aloof Emperor Wu? If you are not willing, then so be it. Someone send our guest off. Ignoring the two old men who were so angry that they trembled, Xiao Chen continued, The weather is cold, and it is so cold at night. It would not be good for the two young palace masters to injure themselves by kneeling like this. Remember to add some blankets for them at night. Agree to it. Lung Xiaofan could not move at all. He glared at Xiao Chen and said through gritted teeth. The Western Sea Divine Dragon Palace's young palace master felt very sullen, but he still said the same thing. Lung Xiaofan was not even willing to kneel here for a moment. How could he want to kneel for another night? Absolutely not. Chapter 1261. Aside from feeling sullen, Lung Xiaofan felt even more helpless. Back then, when Xiao Chen first came to the heavenly starry ocean, Lung Xiaofan felt helpless. With just a thought, he could think of a way to deal with Xiao Chen, causing Xiao Chen to not even dare to go to his own fief. Over the past 3 years, Xiao Chen had been improving, and so had he. But now, with a single palm strike, he was forced to kneel in front of Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen was a monstrous genius. No one in his generation could compare to him. Lung Xiaofan could not let him become an emperor. This was the only thought in his mind. He absolutely could not let Xiao Chen become an emperor. In the future, the great tribulation of wind and fire would definitely kill him. Right now, he had to endure all the humiliation for now. Whoever had the last laugh would be the real winner. Since the two young masters had spoken, the two Emperor Wu-level experts of the Dragon Palace had no choice but to take out all their belongings and save them as ransom. Just thinking about it made him feel humiliated. The great Emperor Wu was actually toyed with by a blue-robed emperor in the Great Perfection realm. Xiao Chen received the essence stones with satisfaction. Then he patted Lung Xiaofan and the red-robed man's shoulders and said, Take them away. The restrictive spell will be lifted in half an hour. Young man, don't let us seize the opportunity. Today's humiliation will be returned 100-fold in the future. The two old men each carried a person and retreated with lightning speed. They were not willing to stay in this troublesome place any longer. Aside from the people of Heavenly Star Island, only the Bushan Palace's Wang Feng and Elder Xing remained in the main hall. Xiao Chen waved his hand and said, Men, get another set of tables and chairs. I will continue to discuss the matter of handing over the profits with the envoy from Bushan Palace. Ha 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 ha, Blue Dragon King, you must be joking. Let's not talk about profits anymore. We'll leave now. Sorry for disturbing you. He saw that Xiao Chen was able to force two Emperor Wus to hand over 10,000 origin essence stones. Wang Feng had long since been scared out of his wits. If this continued, he did not know how Xiao Chen would play him. This was not a place for humans. In the future, even if Xiao Chen was beaten to death, he would never come back to Heavenly Star Island again. Wang Feng's footsteps were hurried, clearly flustered. He quickly left this place with Elder Xing. When Mo Chen and Lan Xiaobai saw the three Emperor Wu leave, their worried hearts relaxed at the same time. Looking at the white figure, his eyes were filled with admiration. In Kunlun, of the younger generation, who could compete with the emperor and control the situation with a smile? Only Xiao Chen. The three Emperor Wus arrived unexpectedly at the same time. This startled Lan Xiaobai and Mo Chen. One Emperor Wu was already a headache. What would happen if 3 came? However, Xiaoqin calmly dealt with them. Not only did the 3 return empty-handed, but he even managed to extort 20,000 origin essence stones out of Emperor Wu's hands. The result was like a dream. Even now, the 2 still found it unbelievable. Xiaobai, pick a date for the news of re-establishing the Dragon's Gate. Do it within a month. Xiaoqin turned around and spoke with a grave expression. He did not show any joy at the results of the battle. Feeling confused, Lan Xiaobai asked, "Why? Didn't you just force the 2 Dragon Palace's young palace masters to sign a contract, forbidding them from coming to Heavenly Star Island to cause trouble?" Xiaoqin smiled helplessly. "Why do you think I could control the situation, forcing the 3 of them to return empty-handed and unable to do anything to me?" Lan Xiaobai opened his mouth to answer. However, when the words reached his mouth, he felt that the answer was not right. After thinking hard, he could not think of an accurate answer. Why? Emotion calmed down and thought for a while. Then she had an answer in her heart. She looked at Xiaoqin and said, "Because of strength." Xiaoqin nodded and said, "That's right. It is because of strength. Even when facing 3 Emperor Wu at the same time, I have trump cards and do not fear them. Only in this way can I have the confidence to always be overbearing in terms of aura. The fist is the biggest rule. Contracts and whatnot can be reneged at any time. I just have an excuse. In the future, when facing the Divine Dragon Palace, I can use reason to force them and gain an advantage." Lan Xiaobai suddenly understood. However, he still did not understand. Then, what does all this have to do with announcing the news of re-establishing the Dragon's Gate in advance? Xiaoqin sat down on the chair that he had already replaced. Then he said, "I already exposed my strength, and the other party will definitely not take this lying down. Do you think that with my strength, I can cause any waves before the 3 Holy Masters and the Divine Dragon Palace? Now that the other party is prepared, it will be hard for me to deal with them the next time they come looking for trouble. We can only announce the news of re-establishing the Dragon's Gate in advance and disrupt their plans so that we can control the rhythm ourselves." Lan Xiaobai was not stupid. After Xiaoqin explained, he immediately understood. "I'll do it right away. Mo Chun, get Elder Qin to come over. I have something to discuss with him." The sense of crisis in Xiaoqin's heart made him unwilling to stop for even a moment. Originally, he had not intended to expose his strength before the Dragon's Gate was re-established. He had strength on par with Emperor Wu. Once it was exposed, some of the tacit understanding between the Thunder King and the other primes would be broken. However, he had no choice today. He had to expose it. Fortunately, the 3 Emperor Wu had too many misgivings and lost their drive. Xiaoqin only exposed the sharp spirit finger. No one knew that he had 100 strands of primordial energy. This was a blessing in disguise. After a while, the Haotian sect's Elder Qin arrived at the main hall. Xiaoqin went straight to the point, saying, "Elder Qin, I would like to meet the Haotian Emperor. You should have a way." The Haotian Emperor. No, now it should be the Haotian Prime, Ingzongtian. The other party had cleared 3 sovereign tribulations in a row, crossing 9 heavens. Like the Thunder King Sangmu back then, he already possessed the strength of a prime. Xiaoqin had never formally met the Thunder King before, nor had he spoken to the Thunder King. He always felt that there was some distance between them. In Xiaoqin's heart, the only person he could truly rely on was this Prime Martial Emperor, who he had a heart-to-heart talk with before. Xiaoqin needed this senior's permission to re-establish the Dragon's Gate. Otherwise, he would not be confident. After announcing the matter to the world, there would be huge waves and boundless pressure. Elder Qin was not surprised by Xiaoqin's sudden question. He smiled and said, "The sect master instructed me long ago that if Heavenly Star Island runs into any unsolvable problems, this old man can shatter this jade strip and get him to make an appearance. However, young Master Xiao has never had a chance to use this jade strip. Wouldn't it be a waste to use it now? There really is." "Indeed, I guessed right," Xiaoqin said respectfully. "I'll have to trouble Elder Qin. Give me the jade strip. It is indeed time to use it." It is good that young Master Xiao has decided. Elder Qin flicked his hand and tossed out a jade strip. After Xiaoqin caught it, he performed a cupped fist salute and said, "If there is nothing else, this old man will take his leave first." Clearly, Xiaoqin had something he wanted to discuss with Yingzongtian alone. So Elder Qin tactfully left. Without any hesitation, the moment Elder Qin left, Xiaoqin directly shattered the jade strip. Kasie. The jade strip shattered into countless pieces. Each piece flickered with a crystalline light, looking dreamy and beautiful. Before Xiaoqin's curious expression, the countless pieces of light gathered and changed. Finally, they formed an image of Yingzongtian in front of Xiaoqin. "Little brother Xiao, why are you looking for me?" Yingzongtian asked with a smile, appearing to be in good spirits. Xiaoqin said politely, "Big brother Ying, I intend to announce the re-establishment of the Dragon's Gate to the world within 1 month." The moment Xiaoqin said that, the smile on Yingzongtian's face immediately vanished. Then he asked gravely, "Why are you in such a rush? In my opinion, you are not a rash person or a maniac with wild ambitions. Is there some other reason?" Xiaoqin felt a warmth in his heart. Although Yingzongtian was a senior, he did not seem to have a generation gap with Xiaoqin. Xiaoqin could easily guess Xiaoqin's difficulties. Nodding, Xiaoqin explained Heavenly Star Island's current problems. The Western Sea Divine Dragon Palace was eyeing Heavenly Star Island covetously. Heavenly Star Island was not strong enough to resist them. Xiaoqin needed to establish the Dragon's Gate's name and let them know the strength behind Heavenly Star Island. Only then would the other party not dare to make any rash moves, giving Heavenly Star Island space to survive. At the same time, Xiaoqin expressed his intentions. He was only here to re-establish the Dragon's Gate out of a sense of responsibility after the death of the Qing Emperor. He did not have any ambitions, nor did he want to rule the world. Xiaoqin did not have the time, energy, or interest to do so. As long as he could continue the Dragon's Gate's inheritance and live up to that sense of responsibility in his heart, it would be fine. Yingzongtian had been listening all along, not interrupting. After Xiaoqin finished speaking, he said, "I understand what you mean. When the time comes, I will personally make a trip over. As a descendant of the Qing Emperor, re-establishing the Dragon's Gate is a matter of course. There is no need to hide or sneak around." Xiaoqin revealed a trace of joy on his face. "Many thanks, big brother. It's fine. There is no need to stand on ceremony. You are a descendant of the Qing Emperor in the first place. Re-establishing the Dragon's Gate is a matter of course. There is no need to sneak around or hide. Since you are open and above board, what is there that cannot be made public? No matter how big the matter is, I will help you shoulder it." The Haotian Prime, Yingzongtian, did not hesitate to agree to Xiaoqin's request after he finished speaking. "With Big Brother's words, even if there is a huge wave, I am confident of shouldering it." Xiaoqin's words were not humble or flattering. What else could give Xiaoqin more confidence than the promise of a prime? "Big Brother Ying, can I meet the Thunder King?" Xiaoqin made another request after hesitating for a while. Yingzongtian smiled and said, "There is no need. The Thunder King has been watching you. If he wants to meet you, it would be hard for you not to. If he does not want to, no one will be able to see his true body. Remember these words of mine. Although the Thunder Sovereign has rarely interfered to help you along the way, he has always been watching over you. As long as he is around, no one in the entire Kunlun realm will dare to touch you." Whoosh! After Xiaoqin said this, all the motes of light scattered like fireflies. Yingzongtian's figure vanished. A flame lit up in Xiaoqin's eyes. That was a surging determination. A faction that had disappeared for 10,000 years would be re-established within 1 month. The storm that Xiaoqin brought would definitely affect the entire Kunlun realm. No matter where one was, this news would cause a stir. The enemies in the open would definitely be enraged. The enemies in the dark would not be able to hold back and jump out. Not everyone was happy to see the Dragon's Gate rise. Back then, the Qing Emperor made too many enemies. After the Qing Emperor fell, all the factions that participated in the destruction of the Dragon's Gate would absolutely not let the Dragon's Gate re-establish smoothly. Chapter 1262. Come then. Let the storm come even more ferociously. Xiaochen muttered to himself. Unknowingly, he had already been in the Kunlun realm for close to 8 years. Ever since he announced his identity as a descendant of the Qing Emperor, he had been waiting for this moment for far too long. Lan Xiaobai was still helping to choose a date. Xiaochen could not possibly stop either. The sense of urgency made him cultivate even more anxiously. 20,000 essence stones were sufficient for Xiaochen to cultivate for a long time. He did not have to worry about resources at all. Aside from cultivating primordial energy, Xiaochen spent all his remaining time on comprehending and refining his saber soul. After Mo Chen found out about Xiaochen's request, she contacted the various large merchant associations in Heaven Dragon City. Adding on the connections of the Green Dragon Chamber of Commerce, she helped Xiaochen obtain a total of 10 peak-grade Demon Fiend rocks. Even after using so many connections, she managed to obtain only 10 peak-grade Demon Fiend rocks. This showed how rare these things were. According to Mo Chen, as long as they appeared in an auction, people on the level of Emperor Wu would immediately buy them. Furthermore, even sovereign martial emperors would be interested. Being able to obtain 10 peak-grade Demon Fiend rocks for Xiaochen was already very incredible. Even those holy lands might not be able to do this within a short time. Naturally, 10 peak-grade Demon Fiend rocks was insufficient for Xiaochen to raise his 70% comprehended saber soul to 100% comprehension and transform it into a saber domain. However, raising it to 80% comprehension would not be a problem. If he was lucky, he could raise it to 90% comprehension. As Xiaochen sat on the peak that belonged to him, he held a peak-grade Demon Fiend rock in his hand. After taking a deep breath, Xiaochen started to use his saber soul to touch the Demon Fiend rock, tempering his saber soul. Using the Demon Fiend rock to cultivate was not easy. It would trigger a negative heart demon, which was extraordinarily dangerous. If one was not careful, one's mind would be injured. When Xiaochen's saber soul touched the Demon Fiend rock, a layer of black demonic qi covered his body. The demonic qi changed, looking like a human demon surrounding him. The scene in front of him suddenly changed. A large amount of abyss demonic energy appeared out of nowhere and attacked Xiaochen's sea of consciousness. Monstrous waves surged in Xiaochen's sea of consciousness. Black demons with ever-changing figures appeared in his sea of consciousness. Sometimes, these demons would take on the appearance of Xiaochen's fiendish appearance. It was extremely strange. What he saw wasn't an illusion, but it wasn't real either. It was hard to tell what was real and what was fake. The true sea of consciousness could be said to be completely calm, without any ripples. However, if left unchecked, these illusory demons would eventually injure the main body. Not only his will, but his soul and mind would also suffer significant damage. In serious cases, their souls might even be devoured by the devil, turning them into a homicidal maniac and completely falling into the path of the devil. Demonic Fiend Rock. Just from its name, one could tell that it was no ordinary natural treasure. Using it to take shortcuts was like dancing on a tightrope. Kill, 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 kill. The demons let out miserable shrieks that sounded like ghosts wailing and wolves howling. The sound waves surged into the air, their auras horrifying. Xiaochen's heart remained as calm as still water. His gaze turned sharp as he held a saber in his hand. This was the true form of his saber soul. He said coldly, "If my heart does not waver, it is all an illusion. Die." In this surging sea of consciousness, Xiaochen clashed intensely with the demons. The dangerous scene was no less than a real battle. In fact, it was even crueler. Sometimes, the demons would not only take on Xiaochen's appearance but also Ao Jiao, Lu Ruyue, Mo Chun, and everyone else related to Xiaochen. If Xiaochen hesitated, thousands of sabers would pierce his heart, inflicting extreme pain and torture. Furthermore, Xiaochen had to maintain a calm heart amid this frenzied massacre. He could not lose himself in the massacre. It was easy to imagine how difficult it was to cultivate a saber soul. After Xiaochen chopped down all the demons, an illusory seven-colored, glassy saber light appeared in his sea of consciousness. This was the essence of the Demon Fiend Rock after the negative demons were removed. According to the test's performance and the grade of the Demon Fiend Rock, different amounts of essence would appear. This is my first time seeing a 7-colored saber soul essence. Peak grade demon fiend rock is indeed extraordinary. In the past, when Xiaochen used superior grade demon fiend rocks, silver essence appeared. This time, however, it was a multicolored one. Xiaochen wondered what level his saber soul would reach after absorbing it all. Xiaochen narrowed his eyes and pushed off the ground, flying towards that 7-colored light. As Xiaochen brandished his saber light, the multicolored essence of the saber soul was absorbed into the saber in his hand. When the saber light was completely absorbed, Xiaochen's expression changed. When the saber light in his hand was completely absorbed, Xiaochen suddenly opened his eyes. All the illusions vanished. He had already exhausted the demon fiend rock in his hand. Xiaochen's gaze turned even sharper. It felt like he could pierce through space with a gentle stab, inspiring fear. Xiaochen anxiously sank his consciousness into his sea of consciousness. He discovered that the illusory small saber beside the lightning talisman had become even more corporeal. 76% comprehension. What an incredible effect. With another demon fiend rock, my saber soul can definitely advance to 80% comprehension. There are also 9 peak grade demon fiend rocks. Who knows, I might be able to advance my saber soul to 90% comprehension and form my own saber domain. Xiaochen exclaimed joyfully. He had not expected the effects of the peak grade demon fiend rock to be so good. In reality, there was a reason for this. If it were another Emperor Wu using this demon fiend rock, he would not be able to achieve such an effect as Xiaochen did. Firstly, this was Xiaochen's first time using the peak grade demon fiend rock. Naturally, the effects would be extraordinary. For any natural treasure, the first use would have the greatest effect. After that, the effects would slowly weaken until there was no effect at all. Secondly, it had to do with Xiaochen's mental state. His heart was as calm as still water, completely unaffected by the negative emotions. Killing all the demons without sparing a single one would naturally achieve the best effect. If a large number of demons remained and could not be killed, the impurities in the demon fiend rock would not be removed so cleanly. Perhaps not even half of the 7-colored essence would be left. When one's mental state reached Emperor Wu's level, the higher one went, the more one would discover the effects of one's mental state. After tossing aside his thoughts, Xiaochen took out the second peak grade demon fiend rock and continued to cultivate. The first time, Xiaochen had spent half a day to eliminate all the demons. This time he only needed 4 hours. However, the improvement he obtained shocked him. 79% comprehension. Xiaochen was still a step away from 80% comprehension. This blow shattered his dreams. Xiaochen frowned and said, "The effects are weakening very quickly. To think that I can use 10 demon fiend rocks to break through to a saber domain. How naive." If Xiaochen could advance his saber soul to a saber domain before the ceremony, he would be more confident when facing Emperor Wu's mockery. Even without the cycle banner, he could hold his own against a second heaven Emperor Wu. Xiaochen sighed somewhat helplessly. Then he continued to absorb the third peak grade demon fiend rock. After he finished, his saber soul reached 80% comprehension. However, Xiaochen did not feel much joy. With this third demon fiend rock, his saber soul had only reached 80% comprehension, not even 81%. If this continued, not to mention 100% comprehension saber soul, even 90% comprehension would be an unattainable goal. An 80% comprehension saber soul cannot create an absolute suppression. Compared to a 70% comprehension saber soul, there is no qualitative difference. Xiaochen frowned heavily. Then he took out the remaining 7 peak grade demon fiend rocks and entered deep thought. What should I do? Within 1 month, I will announce to the world that I am re-establishing the Dragon's Gate and send out invitations. I already exposed the sharp spirit finger as a trump card. If I do not have another trump card, how am I going to suppress those insignificant people? Feeling anxious, Xiaochen could not think of any solution. The effects of the demon fiend rocks gradually decreased. As Xiaochen absorbed them over and over again, the effects became weaker. Why do I have to absorb them over and over again? Why not gather them together and absorb all 7 peak grade demon fiend rocks at the same time? Xiaochen's eyes lit up. Inspiration flashed in his mind as he came up with such an idea. What are you thinking of doing? Don't mess around. Inside the immortal spirit ring, Ao Jiao saw Xiaochen line up the 7 demon fiend rocks, as if he wanted to refine them at the same time. This startled her. I plan to refine all 7 peak-grade demon fiend rocks at the same time and risk it all. Idiot. To think that you are really planning to do that. Demon fiend rocks are evil items in the first place, not anything good. Refining just one is already fatal. You want to absorb them all at the same time? Are you tired of living? Ao Jiao scolded. Don't think that you are the only smart one who thought of this. Some madmen have tried it before. Refining demon fiend rocks at the same time can multiply the effects. However, one can only refine 3 peak-grade demon fiend rocks at the same time. That is the limit. If one exceeds this limit, they will either go crazy, their souls will scatter, or they will become crippled. None of them will have a good ending. Even if one can refine 3 at the same time, that would be a deity race cultivator with extraordinary mental energy. Few people of the other races can do that. Xiaochen's originally hesitant expression became more resolute when he heard this. Xiaochen had transmigrated and reincarnated. His mental energy was more than twice that of regular humans in the first place. Furthermore, he cultivated the Purple Thunder Divine Incantation, making his mental energy even stronger, already condensing it into magic energy. In terms of mental energy, even the deity race's Emperor Wu did not have many people stronger than Xiaochen. Of course, in terms of usage of mental energy, Xiaochen was definitely not as good as the deity race cultivators. Back then, when Emperor Forsaken made a move, he returned without any results. Thinking of this, Xiaochen felt more confident. Ao Jiao, I never do things rashly. However, this time, I have to take a gamble. The re-establishment of the Dragon's Gate is very important. I do not have the corresponding strength. Just the Haotian Prime alone will not be able to suppress that group of small fries. Pussy. Before Ao Jiao could reply, Xiaochen's 80% comprehended saber soul came out of his forehead with a flash. The instant the 80% comprehended saber soul appeared, all the bladesmen on Heavenly Star Island felt a formless force that made the sabers in their hands tremble. The saber intent that radiated out buzzed endlessly. Fortunately, this moment ended as quickly as it came. When the saber soul came in contact with the 7 peak-grade demon fiend rocks, the scattered saber intent immediately vanished. Black fog shrouded the summit, and a sinister wind blew. A horrifying demon moved unpredictably in the black fog. Such a mysterious phenomenon attracted the attention of all the cultivators around the mountain range. What's going on? Why is there such a terrifying demonic chi on the peak where Xiaochen cultivates? That demon is very horrifying. With just one look, the dark side of my heart surged, unable to suppress my murderous intent. Chapter 1263. Oh no! Could Big Brother Xiaochen have entered a state of berserking qi deviation? Yu Chenxi, Xianyuan Zhantian, Gong Yanyu, and the others all gathered at the foot of the mountain, all of them speaking anxiously and worriedly. Some people could not resist rushing up the mountain to take a look. Stop right there. No one is to move. The Life Reaper Azura Lan Chaofeng appeared silently. When he saw the dark clouds covering the mountain and the ever-changing demons, his expression suddenly changed. I heard that Lan Chaofeng asked Mo Chen to collect peak-grade demon fiend rocks. Could this little fellow have taken that path? Senior Lan, what's going on? Did Big Brother Xiaochen enter a state of berserking qi deviation? Lan Chaofeng did not say anything. He formed hand seals and quickly formed hand seals. The primordial energy in his body surged, and a terrifying aura spread out from his body. Then Lan Chaofeng pointed to the sky, and a vast barrier directly sealed off this place, including the mountain where Xiaochen cultivated. Even Lan Chaofeng found it somewhat taxing to seal off such a large place. He wiped the sweat off his forehead and said calmly, "Keep today's matter a secret. Xiaochen cannot be disturbed by anyone right now. If anything goes wrong, this little fellow will be completely destroyed. The few of you scatter to the periphery. If you discover anyone suspicious and do not heed the first warning, you can directly make a move. I will personally guard this mountain. Yes. Lan Chaofeng had never seen Lan Chaofeng so anxious before. After hearing his orders, Yu Chenxi and the others did not say anything else. They scattered to guard the periphery. As for Lan Chaofeng himself, he personally remained at the foot of the mountain to guard Xiaochen. As Lan Chaofeng looked at the terrifying black demonic qi on the mountain, he said with lingering fear, "This little fellow. That is a taboo that even I do not dare to touch." Just how many peak-grade demon fiend rocks did he absorb? 3, or did he surpass the taboo and refine 4? If Lan Chaofeng knew that Xiaochen refined 7 in one go, he would disregard everything to stop Xiaochen. In the chaotic sea of consciousness, demons and monsters danced wildly, and a boundless baleful aura surged continuously. The moment the phenomenon first appeared, the surging murderous aura instantly caused Xiaochen's heart to waver. Slaughter, hatred, pain, jealousy, and various other negative emotions assaulted him, causing him to be unable to endure it and almost collapse. So painful, so painful. Amid the chaos, Xiaochen could not even form a saber soul. He held his head with both hands and knelt on the ground. The expression on his face changed unpredictably, showing pain and conflict. In his eyes, the world was completely distorted. Those demons that were born from negative emotions. In his heart, it was distorted and exaggerated beyond recognition. The entire world was a blur, and he couldn't see anything clearly at all. Refining 7 top-grade devil fiend rocks at the same time would multiply the effects, but the danger would also multiply. As soon as he appeared, he gave Xiaochen a show of strength. If he didn't wake up, his entire soul would be occupied by negative emotions, and he would become a devil who would kill without blinking an eye. Throughout history, there had been many outstanding talents and ambitious overlords who fell to demon fiend rocks. This was not strange at all. Shortcuts were not that easy to take. The torture continued, and the pain intensified. Xiaochen's mind turned chaotic as he howled in pain. Piercing auditory hallucinations appeared in Xiaochen's ears. Horrifying mysterious phenomena appeared before him, and despair filled his heart. Gaga gaga. You are just an arrogant maniac. Do you think that you are very incredible? If not for the Thunder Sovereign standing behind you, who knows how many times you would have been killed already? You are just a bastard. Serves you right to be chased out of your clan. Your blood is cold, and your heart is ice. Serves you right to be rejected by others. Serves you right to die before advancing to martial emperor in 5 years. Piercing auditory hallucinations rang out in Xiaochen's ears. Even when he covered his ears, he could not block out this sound. Endless illusions appeared before Xiaochen. The most horrifying one was when he underwent his great tribulation of wind and fire, burning to death on the emperor's road, dying while he was just 1 step away from the emperor's door. When Xiaochen saw it with his own eyes, it was like experiencing it for himself. It felt incredibly real. Everyone in the world started mocking Xiaochen. Indeed, he was a short-lived person. Meteor, oh meteor. Whoever laughs last is the true hero. These people included the Zodiac Hall's young master, Di Wuk, the Ghost Monarch's personal disciple, and the Xingtian's followers. There were also the people that Xiaochen once trampled on, all of them laughing wantonly. The laughter was piercing, overlapping with the auditory hallucinations. It was so painful that one wished for death, on the verge of collapse. A voice of despair rang out in Xiaochen's heart. Just give up. Living is too tiring. Who is as bitter as you, becoming Emperor Wu and getting attacked by half of the primes in the world? Who is like you, driven by the responsibility in your heart, wanting to restore the sect of your ancestors? However, you have to hide and sneak around. You live in fear, fearing that if you take a wrong step, you will be consigned to eternal damnation. You even implicate your friends and family. Who is as lonely as you? You clearly have someone you love, but you do not dare to bring her to your side, fearing that someone will harm you and make an irreparable mistake? Who can understand your helplessness? You are clearly just walking your own path, yet you suffer from all sorts of people, clowns, insulting and mocking you endlessly, whether openly or in the dark. Blue Dragon King looking at the world, who is as bitter as you? Who is as lonely as you? Who is as bitter as you? Who is as lonely as you? Give up. Give up. You have to hate. You have to hate that bastard Qing Emperor for leaving behind a huge mess for an innocent person like you to bear. You have to hate. You have to hate that hypocrite Thunder King. You are clearly being hunted down. Yet he watches from the back and does not make a move. You have to hate. You have to hate those insignificant people who gave them the authority to wantonly insult. No matter whether you are right or wrong, they will curse you and curse you to hell, waiting for you to be consigned to eternal damnation, watching you make a joke of yourself. Xiao Chen's eyes turned hazy, appearing somewhat crazed and somewhat cold. He muttered, "Right, I have to hate. I have to hate. I have to hate that heaven is unfair to me. The Qing Emperor caused my emperor's path to be filled with suffering. The Thunder King is putting on an act for my own good. There are so many insignificant people gossiping about me." At the foot of the mountain, Lan Chaofeng's expression suddenly turned wild. His barrier shook continuously, and a surging demonic flame and baleful aura soared into the sky. What's going on? How many peak-grade demon fiend rocks did he refine at the same time? Lan Chaofeng stood up with a grave expression. A horrified expression flashed in his eyes. In his sea of consciousness, Xiao Chun, who was on the verge of falling into depravity, felt significantly less pain. If you want to kill and cannot find the Qing Emperor, then kill all the descendants of the Qing Emperor. Those Xiao clan members in the Sky Dome realm all have the bloodline of the Qing Emperor. They all deserve to die. If you want to kill the Thunder King, that hypocrite. That old fellow is immortal for 10,000 years, and should have died long ago. If you want to kill all the dancing clowns and insignificant people. Do not leave a single one alive. The voice in Xiao Chen's heart rang out again. His eyes turned scarlet, and a strong killing intent surged from his entire body. That's right. I want to kill. I want to kill. I want to kill. Kill. The voice in Lan Chaofeng's sea of consciousness shouted. In reality, Xiao Chen suddenly opened his eyes. A scarlet light flashed in his eyes as he roared, "Kill!" Rumble. Immediately, the originally shaky barrier crumbled. Boundless demonic chi formed a black pillar of light from the summit and soared into the sky, tearing through the clouds. Lan Chaofeng took a step back and muttered, "It's over. I can't hide even if I wanted to now. What's going on?" Mo Chen and Lan Xiaobai rushed over and asked with horror on their faces, not understanding what happened. Lan Chaofeng waved his hand and said with a grave expression, "Don't ask anything. Spread out and don't let anyone near. You will not be able to block people on the level of Emperor Wu. Let them in. I'll guard them." Right now, Xiao Chun is at the most crucial moment. He cannot allow anyone to disturb him. He already has half a foot in the deep abyss, entering the demonic Tao. Stepping into the deep abyss, entering the demonic Tao. These words frightened Mo Chen and Lan Xiaobai into paling, and they could not help crying out. How can it be like this? How can it be like this? Mo Chen muttered, somewhat at a loss. Lan Chaofeng sighed. This fellow probably pushed himself too hard, wanting to have another trump card on the day of the ceremony. Never mind, this is not the time to speak nonsense. Quickly organize the people. Don't let ordinary people pass through. If he really kills someone, he will never be able to turn back. Mo Chen and Lan Xiaobai could hear the urgency in Lan Chaofeng's words. They did not dare to linger, immediately leaving to carry out the order. As Xiao Chen's conferred land, Heaven Dragon City had risen very quickly recently. It would be impossible to say that there were no experts of hostile factions hiding in the city. This was an extremely normal thing. The various large factions were very intertwined with each other. They all infiltrated each other. The Holy Lands were no exception. Normally, Mo Chen and the others would not care. After all, the other party did not do anything. They could not possibly chase him out just because he was strong. However, at this crucial moment, this was what they feared the most. As long as the other party caused trouble and entered the demonic Tao, it would be over. At the same time, a voice rang out in Xiao Chen's heart again, where the demonic flame gathered. You want to become a demon? Only by becoming a demon can you be free. Only by becoming a demon can you be omnipotent, fearless, able to kill whoever you want. Fall into the darkness and become a demon. The voice in Xiao Chen's heart gave off a boundless temptation. I want to hate. I want to kill. I want to become a demon. The sun hung high in the sky, illuminating the world and making it bright. Heavenly Star Island was as calm as usual. However, it was accompanied by the heart-wrenching word kill. At the peak that belonged to Xiao Chen to the northwest of Heaven Dragon City, an overwhelming demonic light soared into the sky. In an instant the sky darkened, as if it was night pitch black. Only that black demonic light was piercingly bright and eye-catching. Immediately, the entire city turned flustered, not knowing what to do. The dark clouds made everyone flustered and tremble. What's going on? Is a great demon about to appear? What a horrifying demonic flame. I have only seen such a scene in the Black Sea. A greater heavenly emperor Wu fell into the demonic Tao and killed half the people of the sea region. Finally, the 13 great bandits had to work together to kill that person. However, isn't that the peak of the Blue Dragon King Xiao Chen? How can there be such a horrifying demonic flame? Could it be that the Blue Dragon King entered berserking qi deviation? Chapter 1264. The city was in an uproar. This news was explosive enough. It was hard for people not to be shocked. That's probably true. The Blue Dragon King's power is growing too fast. It's not surprising that he would go berserk. Let's go take a look. Those who were not afraid of death could not resist the curiosity in their hearts and rushed towards the mountain peak. In an instant, figures flickered in the sky. Tens of thousands of people soared into the air, all flying towards the same direction. The scene was incomparably spectacular. At the same time, in a few inconspicuous shops in Heaven Dragon City, several ordinary-looking old men walked out and looked coldly at the soaring demonic light. Among them, there were people from the immortal holy lands like Zodiac Hall, Five Poison Sect, Myriad Fiend Island, Yin-Yang Paradise and Moon Palace. There were also people from ancient families and forces like the Dragon Palaces of the Four Seas. Without exception, they were all emperors. A few of them even had the strength of Emperor Wu at the second sky. In just 1 year, the Heaven Dragon City became the center of the Western Sea. The speed of its rise was unprecedented. The various major factions of the Heavenly Starry Ocean all saw this, and did not lower their guard. Even if they didn't want to be enemies with Heaven Dragon City, they had to show that they valued this city. They had sent their emperor-level experts to guard the city. It could appear instantly in unexpected situations, such as when the Heaven Dragon City's West Sea Dragon Palace was destroyed. The hidden Emperor Wu would jump out and stop the West Ocean Dragon Palace from taking all the territories. For example, Blue Dragon King Xiao Chen had suddenly gone berserk. Now that there was an emperor-level powerhouse present, they could make a good decision. After a while, many martial monarchs sneered and made up their minds. They silently walked towards the mountain peak. There were also a few Emperor Wu who chose to remain neutral after remaining silent for a long time. For example, the experts of the Myriad Fiend Island, the Lunar Palace, and the Yin-Yang Paradise did not act rashly. At the peak where Xiao Chen was, Mo Chen and the others saw batches of cultivators rushing over. After failing to persuade them for a long time, they chose to kill. I repeat, this is the forbidden area of the Heaven Dragon City. Anyone who dares to come near will be killed. Mo Chen said coldly, killing a small perfection blue-robed emperor, who tried to barge in with a palm strike. There were at least 1 or 2 corpses of cultivators who had tried to barge in, but had been killed. Such a cold and frightening scene finally shocked the people who came to watch the show. After all, no matter how heavy their curiosity was, it was needless to say which was more important compared to their lives. Step down, all of you. You won't be able to interfere in today's matter. There's nothing interesting to see inside. Lan Xiaobai's words were calm, but there was an undeniable tone in his tone. Although it was a request, it was also an order. With some corpses as a foil, his words were filled with deterrence. Despite their reluctance, some of them still retreated obediently. After retreating for 10,000 meters, they stopped and continued to watch from afar. Jean Lin could not help cursing. This group of people is really not afraid of death. Asking them to retreat is for their own good. Even now they are not willing to leave. Lan Xiaobai rubbed his temples and said, "Never mind. We have already retreated far enough. It's up to them." Mo Chen said worriedly, "Earlier, there were at least 5 Emperor Wus who passed through our blockade." Lan Xiaobai turned his head and said, "I know. I'll leave this to Master. We can no longer block existences on the level of Emperor Wu." Mo Chen hesitated for a while before turning her head back and asking, "Do you think that big brother Xiaoqin can return?" Lan Xiaobai was not in a rush to answer. After a while he said, "I believe him. Although he looks cold on the outside, his heart is warm. I don't believe that he will fall into the demonic Tao." At the foot of the mountain, Lan Xiaofeng looked coldly at the 4 people in front. He said, "The Heavenly Province Academy, the Eastern Sea Divine Dragon Palace, the 5 Poison Sect, and the ancient noble clans Old Jiang. I really did not know that this insignificant Heaven Dragon City had so many Emperor Wus." When the 4 saw Lan Xiaofeng, they were slightly stunned. Unexpectedly, Lan Xiaofeng, who was known as the life-reaping Azura, would appear at this moment. After thinking for a while, the elegant old man from the Heavenly Province Academy said, "Senior Lan, you have seen the situation for yourself. The Blue Dragon King Xiaoqin has already taken half a step into the demonic Tao. This is the best time to kill him. If he really becomes a demon, he will bring a calamity to the entire heavenly starry ocean." "That's right. You are also aware of his talent. Once such a demon matures, I dare say that he will endanger the entire Kunlun realm. Senior Lan, you should not stop us. You should charge up with us and kill this demon while he is still in the cradle." Lan Xiaofeng retorted indifferently, "What are you arguing about? Isn't he still half a step into the demonic Tao? Don't label him as a demon so early. At the very least, he has not killed a single person yet, and has not formally entered the demonic Tao yet. If we really wait for him to become a demon, it will be too late. Senior Lan, you'd better not be blind and become a sinner for all time." The old man from the 5 Poison Sects said in a strange tone, his words extremely vicious. "If you want to protect someone, you have to see when. If we kill him now, the Thunder King will not dare to say anything. We are killing a demon, a powerful demon. He will be remembered in history as a hero." The black-clad old man from the Eastern Sea Divine Dragon Palace said righteously, "Senior Lan, it's fine if you don't make a move, but don't stop us. Don't think that we are afraid of you just because you are the life-reaping Azura. Even if we attack together, you might not be a match for us." The ancient noble clan's Old Jiang took a step forward, feeling a sense of danger. Lan Xiaofeng smiled coldly and said, "After not making a move for so many years, do you really think that I, the life-reaping Azura, am an old man?" A horrifying killing chi suddenly erupted from Lan Xiaofeng's body. The 4's eyes turned dazed as they saw a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood behind Lan Xiaofeng. There were even the corpses of famous Emperor Wu bobbing up and down in the sea of blood, shrieking miserably. The 4 immediately panicked. Just how many Emperor Wu did this fellow kill to generate such a horrifying killing chi? "Ah!" Miserable shrieks rang out. Before the ancient noble clan's Old Jiang could understand what was going on, his 2 arms flew up at the same time, and blood spurted out from his arms. However, to the others, Lan Xiaofeng did not move at all. However, a dagger flickering with cold light had appeared in his hand at some point in time. The dagger danced between Lan Xiaofeng's fingers as he said indifferently, "Breaking your arms is a lesson for you. You are just a group of First Heaven Emperor Wu. Killing you is no different from killing dogs. Scram." However, just at this moment, a flash of starlight flashed, taking advantage of the moment when Lan Xiaofeng attacked. Lan Xiaofeng's heart sank. "Oh no! I let the people from Zodiac Hall sneak in. Furthermore, based on the aura, it is a second Heaven Emperor Wu." However, if Lan Xiaofeng gave chase at this moment, the 4 before him would definitely not just obediently retreat. Lan Xiaofeng immediately fell into a dilemma. He could only let that Astral Palace Emperor Wu fly to the summit. Up at the summit, the voice in Xiaoqian's heart continued to shout enticingly, "I want to become a demon. I want to become a demon. I want to become a demon. I want to make Xiaoqian say this personally." Boundless hatred filled him with murderous intent. and the murderous intent pushed him 1 foot into the abyss of becoming a demon. Many outstanding talents in history ended up entering berserking chi deviation, because their mental states failed to keep up as their strength increased. As a result, they lost themselves in the face of desire. Xiao Chen's mental state was several times higher than that of his peers. Even many of the older generation could not compare to him. Unexpectedly, refining 7-peak grade demon fiend rocks at the same time triggered a heart demon that was too strong. Caught off guard, Xiao Chen fell for it, not giving him any buffer time at all. The small hatred in Xiao Chen's heart magnified infinitely, turning into a surging killing intent. Right now, as long as Xiao Chen took another step forward, he could no longer turn back. At this moment, Xiao Chen's heart was already completely suppressed. Although he still had a weak trace of rationality, he put up a final resistance. He didn't say that he wanted to become a demon. However, if he encountered external pressure, he would be able to resist it. However, if he ran into any external pressure, he would turn into duckweed, swept away by a wave. Ao Jiao, who was in the immortal spirit ring, felt very anxious. However, she could not think of any good ideas. At this moment, no one else could help Xiao Chen. He could only rely on his own willpower. However, Xiao Chen's willpower, which had always been successful, was put to a severe test this time. He could fall at any moment. What should I do? What should I do? No matter how much Ao Jiao thought about it, she could not think of any good ideas. Refining 7-peak grade demon fiend rocks at the same time. Since ancient times, no one had ever been so bold. Even those madmen would not dare to do such a thing. At this critical moment, Xiao Chen's peak will of thunder suddenly gave off a loud roar. The strong might of thunder exploded in his sea of consciousness. The will of thunder, which was only 1 step away from becoming an innate thunder crystal, let out its own furious roar at this moment. The bewitching voice in Xiao Chen's heart paused momentarily before this explosion of thunder. The roaring thunder could rupture eardrums and make one's heart tremble. However, to Xiao Chen at this moment, it sounded as pleasant as celestial music. His heart, which had been suppressed by chaos, finally obtained temporary peace. Several heartwarming scenes appeared in Xiao Chen's mind. Xiao Chen learned the Saber Dao under Lu Riyue's tutelage on Qingyan Peak. The many disciples of the Xiao clan in Mo City knelt down and pleaded for Xiao Chen. During the king conferral ceremony, the Thunder King stepped forward and personally saved Xiao Chen from Emperor Forsaken. On Heavenly Star Island, the gazes of his companions filled with respect and hope. Along the way, I have never been alone. Amid the mysterious phenomenon, the murderous intent in Xiao Chen's eyes receded like the receding tide, his hatred vanishing. Cold sweat trickled down Xiao Chen's forehead. When he thought of what happened earlier, he felt a lingering fear. How dangerous! It did not give me any buffer time at all. If not for the will of thunder shocking the baleful aura for a moment at the crucial moment, the consequences would have been dire. Originally, Xiao Chen's mental state was not weak. However, the heart demon was too strong, not giving him any buffer time from the start. As long as Xiao Chen had a chance to catch his breath, given his mental state and strong mental energy, he would be able to recover his mental state in an instant. When the countless demons in front saw that Xiao Chen had woken up, they continuously created all sorts of illusions and terrifying illusory sounds, trying to pull Xiao Chen back into a state of massacre. Chapter 1265. However, it was clearly impossible for the same move to work on Xiao Chen twice. Gurgle. Gurgle. When the move failed, all the demons started moving at the same time. Then they gathered together and turned into a mountain-sized demon. It looked as disgusting as one could imagine. However, what shocked Xiao Chen even more was yet to come. The mountain-sized demon transformed continuously. Finally, it turned into a black-clad man who looked exactly the same. This person's face was filled with evil intent, and he held a black saber in his hand. He gave Xiao Chen a familiar yet strange feeling. "Who are you?" The black-clad man smiled and said, "I am you and you are me. However, your heart is usually very stable, never giving me a chance to appear." Xiao Chen suddenly startled awake. He understood that this was the other him formed by the desires and the various negative emotions in his heart. Everyone had good and evil sides. No one could avoid them. Naturally, Xiaoqun was no exception. This was somewhat problematic. With the support of the 7-peak grade demon fiend rocks, Xiaoqun did not know how strong his evil thoughts would be. If he died here, he would be completely erased. Thank you for your arrogance, giving me a chance to appear. Go in peace. I will carry your desires and live on. The black-clad man's lips curled up in a sinister smile. Then his figure flashed as he charged at Xiaoqun. The saber technique that the black-clad man attacked was Xiaoqun's specialty, Flawless Bright Moon. However, this moon was a black, evil moon. It gathered evil thoughts and inspired fear. How fast? In the time it took for a spark to fly, Xiaoqun attacked at lightning speed. He also used Flawless Bright Moon to clash. The two moons competed with each other. Two saber chi, one black and one white, clashed at the same time. In the end, Xiaoqun's saber chi instantly scattered. The black saber chi contained a berserk killing intent, knocking Xiaoqun back and causing him to vomit blood. How can it be like this? Xiaoqun asked, feeling doubtful. The black-clad man walked over step by step. He smiled and said, I know everything you know. I have this endless massacre and evil thoughts to use. However, you can only defend your heart. How can you compare to me? Whoosh. With a flash, the man in black did not give Xiaoqun a chance to overtake him. He began to suppress Xiaoqun. The various killing moves that Xiaoqun usually used were displayed in an even more brutal manner in the hands of the black-clothed man. And each move was much more powerful than the original. Too weak. You can't use this move like that. With just this bit of skill, you still want to walk down the road of Emperor? How naive. In just 10 moves, Xiaoqun was already covered in cuts and bruises. On the other hand, the black-clothed man was orderly and skillful. Every time he lost, Xiaoqun would ruthlessly taunt him. Xiaoqun calmed down and thought of another move, Momentary Glory. Yes, it was Momentary Glory. He had personally comprehended this move, and he needed to experience it himself to be able to use it. As an evil will, the other party would never have thought of this. Saber lights flickered, and all sorts of mysterious phenomena coalesced into a scene of Xiaoqun standing proudly on the peak of a mountain, and all the outstanding talents falling. The black-clothed man smiled and said, This is what you understand as glory. However, in my heart, true glory is like this. After saying that, the black-clothed man also chopped down with Momentary Glory. The outline of the scene did not change. However, behind the black-clothed Xiaoqun in the scene was a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. White bones piled up everywhere. The two scenes clashed intensely. The two stretched out their hands at the same time and said softly, Break! Whoosh! Space shattered, and all the scenes intertwined, forming an intense clash. The two were evenly matched. It was the black-clothed man's turn to be startled. What's going on? My glory used the corpses of the outstanding talents to form a sea of blood. How can his glory compare to mine? A bright light flashed in Xiaoqun's eyes. His heart became even more resolute. He smiled and said, Indeed, it is as I expected. You do not understand me at all. You do not understand my glory. You do not understand my hot-bloodedness. Similarly, you do not understand my sorrow. When Ao Jiao, who was in the immortal spirit ring, saw the killing chi in Xiaoqun's eyes slowly vanish, she revealed an expression of pleasant surprise. Although the demonic chi had not disappeared, Xiaoqun had already woken up. He withdrew the foot that was halfway into the deep abyss in the end. Suddenly, a beam of starlight rushed up from the foot of the mountain. Its speed was faster than the human eye could react to. In one moment it was still at the foot of the mountain. In the next moment, it appeared before Xiaoqun. The afterimage behind Xiaoqun had yet to fade away. It gave the illusion of a bright beam of starlight stretching over, never stopping. The starlight gathered, and an old man with a goatee appeared before Ao Jiao. He wore clothes embroidered with stars. The goatee looked at Xiaoqun with shock in his eyes. He muttered, What a powerful blue dragon king. Even when one foot is halfway into the deep abyss, he can still pull himself back. I did not waste a 9-star divine movement talisman in vain. Just so I can stimulate the killing intent in your heart. and push you into the deep abyss. After saying that, the goatee started storing up power, preparing to attack Xiao Chen's main body and stimulate Xiao Chen's instinctive killing intent. Scram! Just at this moment, a beam of golden light flew out from Xiao Chen's finger. Ao Jiao stood on Little Yellow Feather, bathed in a golden flame, charging out like a goddess. The goatee old man was slightly stunned. When he saw that Ao Jiao was only a great perfection blue-robed emperor, he immediately revealed a cold smile. A mantis trying to stop a chariot. Even the great perfection blue-robed emperor dares to tell me to scram? Scatter. The goatee old man flipped his palm, and a purple star banner appeared. Then, he casually waved it at Little Yellow Feather like he was chasing away a fly. The surging starlight gathered and kicked up a small starlight hurricane. The starlight seemed to condense into a solid wind that howled. Everywhere it passed, space cracked. Ao Jiao did not panic. Her gaze turned grave, and Little Yellow Feather's body burned with light. Its aura suddenly soared, and it spat out a clump of flame. This clump of golden flame was extraordinary. One could vaguely see the vague shape of a sun in it, like a newborn solar star. Strictly speaking, the sun was also a star. In the Zodiac Hall, the Solar Astral Palace ranked first was also the Solar Astral Palace. The flame that Little Yellow Feather spat out was a secret technique of the Golden Crow race, the Solar Astral Flame. It was said that a peak adult golden crow could spit out a miniature sun when it opened its mouth, capable of destroying a continent. Although this clump of solar astral flame was far from the legendary scene, there were already some hints of it. The starlight from the purple star slowly melted under the heat of this solar astral flame, eventually assimilating into it. When the goatee old man saw this scene, he was stunned. The Golden Crow Holy Beast? The Golden Crow Holy Beast was born in the sun. From the moment it was born, it carried the might of the sun. It was known as the Lord of the Stars. Any starlight would pale in comparison to it. The Golden Crow was a holy beast that all those who cultivated astral energy dreamed of obtaining. It was also the bane of all those who cultivated astral energy. Wild joy appeared in the goatee old man's eyes. A young golden crow. The heavens are helping me. I used the heavenly astral divine movement talisman at the right time. Otherwise, this golden crow would not be mine. Break. The goatee old man spun the astral banner. This time, he paid 120% of his attention, no longer as casual as before. In one strike, he used 80% of his primordial energy to drive the astral banner in his hand. With a loud bang, the solar astral flame shattered. When the flame shattered, a flaming meteor rain fell from the sky above the mountain, flickering in the sky. Little Yellow Feather, I'll leave it to you. A determined look flashed in Ao Jiao's eyes. Then she pushed off Little Yellow Feather's back and soared into the air. Little Yellow Feather cried out twice as if telling Ao Jiao not to worry. Its figure shook and its body suddenly split into countless flaming golden feathers. Thousands upon thousands of flaming feathers gathered on Ao Jiao's body, looking like a suit of battle armor made of golden thread, burning with a divine fiery light. Life sacrifice, the Golden Crow race's forbidden technique. What exactly is this little Golden Crow's background? The goatee old man's eyes turned doubtful. The Golden Crow could obtain the inheritance of its ancestors in its bloodline. It could learn by itself and comprehend all sorts of secret techniques. However, this life sacrifice art was a forbidden technique that only the Golden Crow race's king could execute. After obtaining the golden thread battle armor, made of Little Yellow Feather's life sacrifice, Ao Jiao's aura became incredibly strong. Xiao Chen hovered in the sky. From a distance, she looked dazzling with golden light and misty flames. She looked holy and dignified, like the Valkyrie of ancient legends. Ao Jiao's eyes narrowed as she held her two sabers. Then, she sent out a beam of golden flaming light, taking the initiative to charge at the goatee old man. The might of a great sun surged out. The goatee old man discovered that the astral energy he used was completely suppressed. This was undoubtedly a fatal threat to him. He came from the Zodiac Hall. All his martial techniques and cultivation techniques were related to astral energy. Suppressing astral energy was equivalent to crippling half of his strength. Xiao Chun stabilized the situation for now. The life sacrifice had a time limit. Once the time was up, he would be able to deal with this insignificant great perfection blue-robed emperor in one move. Whoosh! Whoosh! Golden light flickered continuously in the air. Ao Jiao's exquisite figure created beams of light in the air as she surrounded the goatee old man and attacked him relentlessly. This was a dazzling battle that dazzled everyone's eyes and overwhelmed them. Time ticked by, but Ao Jiao's might did not diminish. The goatee old man calmly brandished the purple star banner in his hand, forming an impenetrable defense. I'll let you be arrogant for now. Let's see how long you can last. Although the goatee old man was in a sorry state, he did not panic at all. This was because he knew that once the time limit of the life sacrifice was up, Ao Jiao would immediately return to her original form. At that time, he could draw out the astral energy and kill this girl in one move. However, just at this moment, an intense killing chi surrounded the goatee. Before the goatee could react, he saw saber lights flickering with electricity appear around him. In the sky, on the ground, in all directions, boundless saber lights flickering with electricity formed a world of sabers. Saber domain. What's going on? For the first time, horror appeared in the goatee old man's eyes. Emperor Wu, who could comprehend a saber domain, had the ability to kill someone of a higher cultivation. This was extremely horrifying. Lan Chaofeng. It must be Lan Chaofeng coming over. Back then, the Life Reaper Azura was able to kill countless Emperor Wu. Even sovereign martial emperors feared him, because he comprehended a saber domain. Chapter 1266. Senior Lan, I know my mistake. Please show mercy and give me a chance. As the goateed old man looked at the vast and boundless island of lightning, he immediately panicked. He was only a second heaven martial emperor, Emperor Wu. He had managed to fool Lan Chaofeng by using a divine movement talisman. If the other party really wanted to fight, the goateed old man would not be a match for him at all. Furthermore, his astral energy was suppressed. Give you a chance? Did you give me a chance when you charged up the mountain? A cold snort resounded, and the thunder saber domain withdrew, compressing the entire space. The goateed old man who was locked down in the saber domain had nowhere to hide. Tens of thousands of electric saber lights pierced through him. At the same time, 5-colored starlight descended from the sky. Xiao Chun, who held the cycle banner and drove the 100 strands of primordial energy in his body, flew over. The saber light seemed to recognize him, automatically opening a path for him. The starlight of massacre, despair, ruin, death and grief merged on the banner tip. Wuxia. The saber lights pierced the goateed old man's heart of an emperor. When Xiao Chun drove the cycle banner with 5 strands of primordial energy, he had been somewhat strained. Now, not only was it easy, but the starlight driven by the 100 strands of primordial energy was also several times mightier. The goateed old man vomited a mouthful of blood and looked at Xiao Chun in shock. It's your saber domain. That's right. Unfortunately, you are already a dead man. Xiao Chun expressionlessly put away the banner. With a thought, the thunder saber domain turned into 100 strands of electric light and returned to his forehead. Wounds covered the goateed old man's body, flickering with electric light. Saber intent lingered in the wounds, preventing Emperor Wu's golden body from healing them quickly. However, even if all the wounds were added together, they could not compare to the wound at the goateed old man's dantian. That was a black hole, and the old man's heart of an emperor had already vanished. Wuxia. 2 flaming golden saber lights crossed each other, and instantly chopped off the goateed old man's head, killing him. The one who made the move was naturally Ao Jiao, who was wearing a golden armor. She looked like a god of war, and her body emitted endless pressure. Xiao Chun felt somewhat confused. Since when had Ao Jiao become so strong? Just as he was about to say something, he discovered that the golden feathers on Ao Jiao's body were slowly falling off. A moment later, the feathers converged and burned into a ball of flame. When the flame dissipated, a pure white egg appeared in front of Xiao Chun. Xiao Chun recognized it at a glance. Wasn't this the golden crow egg that little yellow feather hatched from? What had happened while he was fighting the evil spirit? How did little yellow feather end up like this? Ao Jiao carefully put away the golden crow egg. She looked at Xiao Chun and said, "Don't worry too much. Little yellow feather used the life of the golden crow race as a sacrifice. When the solar divine flame hatches, it will undergo another nirvanic rebirth." Xiao Chun knew that it would not be that simple. After some thought he asked, "How many years?" If little yellow feather cannot find the legendary solar divine flame, it will need 500 years before it can be reborn. The solar divine flame was a legend in the Kunlun realm. No one had ever seen it before. That was to say, Xiao Chun was certain that little yellow feather would only appear after another 500 years. 500 years. Xiao Chun's heart suddenly felt heavy. 500 years was a very long time. Little yellow feather had been sleeping in the Sky Dome realm for tens of thousands of years. It had only been a few years since it reappeared. Yet it had to sleep for another 500 years. Xiao Chun truly owed little yellow feather too much. Ao Jiao consoled him. "It's fine. Even without this experience, little yellow feather will undergo a nirvanic rebirth. This is a tribulation that the king of the golden crow race has to endure. It only sleeps. When it wakes up, it can still see us. Nothing has changed. Come, let's go down." "Right." Ao Jiao hugged the golden crow egg and returned to the immortal spirit ring. A murderous intent flashed in Xiao Chun's eyes. He pushed off the ground and turned into a beam of purple electric light, rushing down the mountain at lightning speed. At the foot of the mountain, the number of Emperor Wu gathered had increased from the original 4 to 9. However, when they saw the cold expression on Lan Chaofeng's face, none of them dared to take a step forward. 2 people lay on the ground, trying to sneak up. In the end, Lan Chaofeng dealt a heavy blow to them, injuring their hearts of an emperor, and causing them to fall to the ground, unable to get up. What's going on? Earlier, the demonic qi was overwhelming. Now there is no demonic qi at all. The 5 beams of starlight earlier were clearly a martial technique of the astral palace. It is very likely that the elder of the Zodiac Hall used a killing move to severely injure the Blue Dragon King when he entered a state of demonic qi. That is to say, the Blue Dragon King is already dead? That is most likely the case. However, it is really hard to say now. Whether he is dead or not, we have to go up and confirm it. The elder of the astral palace must have left by now, leaving this troublesome place. The martial emperor elders from the divine dragon palaces of the 4 seas, the 5 poison sect, and the heavenly province academy discussed in soft voices. Their expressions were very complicated. This was a rare major event. The attention-grabbing Blue Dragon King, Xiao Chun, actually entered a state of berserking qi deviation, taking one step into the demonic Tao. This was simply an opportunity bestowed to them by the heavens. Unfortunately, Lan Chaofeng blocked this place, suppressing everyone's desire and preventing them from using it. Lan Chaofeng's expression turned uncertain. Even now, he did not know what the situation at the summit was like. The natural laws there were in chaos. After an intense battle, mental energy would not be able to detect anything. However, the demonic qi was gone, and an astral palace martial technique appeared. All these signs pointed to an extremely bad situation for Xiao Chun. Whoosh! At this moment, a bolt of purple lightning shot down from the peak of the towering mountain. With a crisp sound, the white-clad Xiao Chun landed in front of Lan Chaofeng. Xiao Chun's long hair fluttered in the wind, looking very elegant. He did not look injured at all. Xiao Chun's eyes were as calm as still water, not showing any signs of entering a state of berserking qi deviation. Didn't you enter a state of berserking qi deviation?" The old man from the 5 poison sect asked in shock. The other Emperor Wu elders also showed shock on their faces. They could not accept this fact at all, feeling somewhat stupefied. How could this be? Not only did Xiao Chun not die, but he also did not enter a state of berserking qi deviation. Furthermore, he did not seem injured at all. Lan Chaofeng smiled and said, "Little fellow, you finally came out. This old man did not block so many clowns for you in vain. What else do you have to say? Blue Dragon King Xiao Chun is here all fine and dandy. Who was the one who wanted to slay the demon?" Xiao Chun thought for a while, and guessed what was going on. He smiled and said, Seniors, the demon that you want to slay, is it me? The 5 poison sect elder who shouted the loudest smiled abashedly and said, How could that be? We only saw the demonic chi rushing into the clouds here, and worried that the Blue Dragon King was in danger, so we came to take a look. That's right. Earlier, the demonic chi rushing into the clouds covered the entire Heavenly Star Island. Could it be that we came to take a look? Little Yellow Feather fell back into a deep slumber, causing Xiao Chen's killing chi to linger. He said rudely to this group of Holy Land elders who harbored evil intentions. Naturally, there is no harm in taking a look. Now that we have seen enough, why don't we scram? What did you say? Hearing Xiao Chen's rudeness, the few Emperor Wu elders all raged. If Lan Qiaofeng had told them to scram, it would have been fine. After all, Lan Qiaofeng was terrifyingly strong. However, Xiao Chen was a great perfection blue-robed emperor. Unexpectedly, he dared to be so rude to them. No matter what, they could not accept this. Xiao Chen narrowed his eyes and smiled. Am I not clear enough? When I call for you, scram immediately. This is my private cultivation ground. You are not welcome here. Lan Qiaofeng, who was at the side, felt startled. Xiao Chen's killing chi was very dense. The sharpness hidden in the killing chi was as sharp as a saber. What exactly happened at the summit? However, it was fortunate that this killing chi was rather pure. There was no berserk, bloodthirsty, or any other attribute mixed in. Now Xiao Chen had indeed recovered his clarity. Haha. I heard that after some people entered a state of berserk chi deviation and entered the deep abyss, they knew how to hide. They looked no different from ordinary people on the surface. However, in reality their hearts had already changed, losing their original heart. Such demons are even more sinister and vicious. The black-clad old man from the 5 poison sects smiled coldly as he spoke in an indifferent tone. The other Emperor Wu thought about it and understood. This was an elder of the 5 poison sect. He could not stand Xiao Chen's tone and wanted to teach him a lesson, so he found a random excuse. The smile on Xiao Chen's face did not diminish. He said indifferently, You are really full of nonsense. Did you not hear me telling you to scram? How many more times do you need me to repeat myself? How pig-headed. Right after Xiao Chen spoke, he withdrew his smile. Then the electric dragon under his feet burst forth, and he arrived before the black-clad old man like he teleported. Without even thinking, Xiao Chen instantly executed the sharp spirit finger. The tip of Xiao Chen's finger shot out, and a clump of flickering electric light covered all the surrounding light. In the time it took for a spark to fly, before the others could understand what happened, there was a loud bang, and the black-clad old man went flying. A bowl-sized hole appeared in the black-clad old man's chest. Blood flowed endlessly. All of you scram. Don't stay here and join in the fun, Lan Qiaofeng said. Lan Qiaofeng said. He feared that Xiao Chen would be tainted by killing chi after clearing his heart demon. After flipping over, the 5 poison sect elder, who was preparing to fight with Xiao Chen, vomited a mouthful of blood when he heard Lan Qiaofeng's words. As the black-clad old man looked at Xiao Chen, he said coldly, Don't think that you can defeat Emperor Wu just because you comprehended the sharp spirit finger. Today, on account of Senior Lan, I will not lower myself to your level. Xiao Chen smiled coldly in his heart. He had not used his full power in this sharp spirit finger, and it could already injure this old man. To think that the other party dared to spout such nonsense. He was truly arrogant and ignorant. You are not convinced? I'll give you a chance 3 days from now. Let's have a fair fight at the Blue Dragon Plaza in Heaven Dragon City. We won't rest until one of us dies. Do you dare to accept? The black-clad old man, who was about to leave with Emperor Wu after saying those words, was stunned when he heard that. The black-clad old man turned around and smiled. Senior Lan, does his words count? Xiao Chen you. Lan Qiaofeng said, trying to persuade Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen waved his hand and sent a voice projection, telling Lan Qiaofeng not to worry, and that he had his own plans. 3 days from now, Xiao Chen could use this battle to announce the news of the Dragon's Gate's re-establishment to the world. This would be a good start to the Dragon's Gate's re-establishment ceremony. These people could not escape responsibility for Little Yellow Feather's misfortune. He had to leave one of them behind to pay the price, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Seeing Xiaoqin agree, the black-clad old man laughed maniacally. You probably do not know how valuable your head is. Since you want to send yourself to death, I'll fulfill your wish. 3 days from now, I will come to collect your head. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.